So without any further desire to delay, let us get the hell on with this. Oh my god.
I will aid you as best I can.
Father, I've been thinking about when we last spoke, and I wanted you to know, I will never agree with your choice to hide the truth that you were still alive. But I understand why you did it, and that you didn't mean to hurt me.
I believed I would be trapped in that ice forever, holding the scourge at bay. I thought that was the only path left for me. I dared not hope for anything more. When the helm was broken, and I was free, I was afraid.
Bolvar Foredragon? Champion of the Alliance? Afraid? Of what?
Of you. That the daughter I loved with all my heart would find me and see only a monster.
No, I see you for the hero you are. And the father you can yet be, if you're willing.
I won't waste this chance, Talia. I promise you.
That's actually sweet. Also, apparently all my coffer keys are gone. We're gonna have to sell those soon. Sorry, unrelated. Doing some inventory. Sorry, I haven't had time to do anything, because the servers just came up. Now, hang on. I'm not sure if any other seasonal stuff is gone at this point. That says season 1. That says season 1. But I can't. Can I just delete these? Should I just delete these? That's a good question. Okay, so I need to do this. Yeah, I'll hold on to them. There might be an achievement, or who knows. It's not like it's taking up a lot of space. Jesus Christ, Evo. Okay, so a little bit of backstory before we move forward. You remember how the Crown of Wills is really, really dumb? Hang on, let me push this here. Exit that. Well, it's so dumb that I, in my head, put together a version of how much better it could be. Just by specifically basing it off of the Crown of Domination. The Helm of Domination, excuse me. You know, the Lich King's helmet. Well, I decided to ask Evo, who, for those of you not aware, is a professional artist and did some extremely amazing art for all 3 rewrites we've done. The Diablo, Final Fantasy 1, and Final Fantasy 2 rewrites. So I know she's a great artist. What she could come up with. And I was like, it's something quick, okay? I don't need anything super fancy. I just need something quick and dirty to throw up here, just to kind of prove a point of how dumb their version was. And she threw together this amazing thing. Like, look, she's even put the runes in the middle of it, for God's sakes. Which I'm just gonna zoom in for a second just so you can see those runes. Look at that, Evo. Christ. Anyways, let me show you the whole thing. There we go. This is her version of the Crown of Wills. And this is actually my first time seeing it too, by the way. She just sent this to me. So as you can see, it's still based on the Helm of Domination. Same overall structure, style, and type. But golden motif, golden blue. Yeah, also proper transparency. And it's got that hard lines. This is actually something I mentioned to her. Because if you ever look at the Helm of Domination, the second Lich King's helmet, it's very smooth. It's all curves to invoke the idea of skeletal, right? Bones. This is much more structured. It's a chung, 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 chung. And that looks awesome. I would wear that in this game. 100% and without hesitation. Especially when beating the jailer. There we go, see? She even bothered to add, like, the lighting in the back of it, because of course she did. Evo, I need you to be slightly less awesome for like 5 seconds. Yeah, she also retained the gem. Did you see that? The gem. In fact, here, just to really make this point really quick, give me a second. I need you to understand how good of a job she did with this. None of these are going to be a PNG, are they? That's fine. We'll use this one. It's a good question. Evo, do those runes mean anything? Uh-oh, there's a flaw. I'm ready. She's ready. That's a good point. That's not something you wear at a Burger King. Gonna have to ding you for that. Sorry. It's perfect except for the burger. Ignore this. I don't know why that's the default image. Why is that my default image? Okay, so here. Side by side. Check that out. Look at that. Even the gem has gone from being a smooth cut opal to something far more angular. And the middle spike is gone, which makes sense because we've removed the connection point to the afterlife, aka Ice Crown Citadel. So there's even some symbology there, and you can see this spike is still retained, this spike is still retained. We've still got the angular eyebrow section. It still has the T shape overall. What used to be the bones, the fingers of the bones right here. Oh, that is really cool. Thank you, Evo, for not only making a cool thing, but proving that you're a better artist than Blizzard was that day. I have to say that day because Blizzard's art team is usually top notch. I don't know what the hell they were smoking that day. Anyways, so yeah, I heard we could beat the game now. Let's do this.
And be charged.
And tell Adrestes I am sorry I could not become an actor.
We're smoking the office.
Somehow, I think he will understand.
Mawwalker, my friend, without you, I may never have found my path. Now I can direct the flow of souls to the afterlives they justly deserve. Yet much remains to be done. To restore balance to the Shadowlands, I fear more must be asked of you.
What at this point?
I have faith that the Mawwalker and their allies will succeed.
Go in service, friends. Oribos and all the Shadowlands are counting on you.
So you notice how that was another in-game cutscene, by the way? Oh, right! This is before we beat the jailer! Right! God damn it, game. So I mentioned that because so I actually want to talk. I know. We really want to finish Shadowlands, but I need to talk about this because this has been on my mind. So WoW for the longest time has had fairly basic character creator and character customization options, and I can explain why very, very simply. Here, Bregman, hold still for a sec. This is why. If you look at Bregman right here, stop. I saw it, Dakota. Thank you. I'm going to look at that later. The only part of her character creation that is visible is the gems that's sticking out of her. And the fact that she has the model of a dwarf. That's it. Two things. The species and the gems. And so for the longest time, it hasn't really mattered what your character looks like because so much of your customization was the gear, right? I mean, even my own outfit here is predominantly the gear. It's not until you zoom in that you can see the eye and the shape and the hair that I designed. And even it then, that's it, is just my face. And that's specifically because I have a helmet that is designed to show that, right? But I bring that up because they've been getting better about allowing you to show more of your character. And they've been getting better about having more options in the character creator. Why is that relevant? I never realized it until literally this morning. This occurred to me while I was going grocery shopping this morning. No joke. In that because of their newer approach to cutscenes, which you've been seeing develop across Shadowlands and which will really go forward in Dragonflight and War Within, we are a lot more a part of the cutscenes. And that matters. Because we like to look cool in cutscenes. We like to have ourselves visible, right? In KOTOR, we like to wear the cool robes. In Final Fantasy, we like to use the cool weapons. In FF14, we spend forever on our transmog. In Dragon Age, we try to make sure that we like to see ourselves, and we like to see the work we've put into customizing our character. And WoW has been pushing that pretty recently, admittedly. So the thing I never realized was I've been putting a whole lot more effort. She kind of does, Dakota. I've been putting a whole lot more effort personally into my outfits and my actual customization. Like, this is not what Zalash's face used to look like. Whoops. And this is not the hair she used to use, and this is not the hair color she used to have. But when they started pushing this, without even really realizing it, I just kind of started getting more finicky, and I just kind of did a polishing pass and went down through each of my characters, changing up their options, because all of a sudden I found that I cared, and I couldn't really put a finger on why. And that's it. It just occurred to me this morning, that's why. 1 second, please. Anyways, moving on. Okay, so now... Yes, you can go... So, you know how there's the... what's it called? The thing that allows you to change your appearance in FF14? You can just walk up to an NPC in WoW and say, hey, you can't change your species in WoW, but you can change... actually, sorry. I don't think you can change your species or your gender. I think. I'm not even sure about that. But you can change everything else. I should also probably mention you can actually change your species with the race change. Not that I would ever encourage this. Okay, so you can change... You notice I hesitated on that because I was like, hang on, I remember reading about that somewhere. So the only thing you can't change is your species. I was right. Thank you, 2 Minuets. As always. Actually, I do, Magister. So this, if you remember, is... Originally, this was supposed to be my warrior, who died during the events of Pandaria. And has since... I've kind of rewritten the story since then, for lack of a better way to put it. And that's sort of the reason for the hair color change, is to differentiate this woman from Frozen Sorrow, who is someone else. Oh, you didn't put that towards editing 2 Minuets. But if you want to put that towards up to 2 games... And by 2, I mean 3 games. 2 Minuets. 3 games. Please let me know. Okay, so... Let's do this.
Not only Bastion, but all of the Shadowlands.
Wow, that's such a terrible legendary. If anyone accomplished what is needed, I believe it's you.
I shall fight for all we believe in.
Whoa! Oh, there's every belt. Oh, that's funny. Yep. Anyways, let's return to Zereth Mortis. You should report back to Volvar what we've accomplished.
Our purpose is to serve.
Speak, mortal.
Yeah, I don't want to sound dismissive about WoW's character creator, because actually it's a really good one, but it didn't used to be. I think that's part of the reason why it has that that reputation. Nowadays, you got it, 2 Minuets, thank you. Nowadays, I recommend you take your time and really make something you're going to be happy with, because there's a lot of options. No, Lore, you're going to Zereth Mortis. It was a solid helm, better than Blizzard's. I know, low bar. You are still an amazing artist. And one of these days, you'll actually acknowledge that. Yep. Hopefully tomorrow, we'll be making my very first Evoker. I am looking forward to that. I've actually only changed my FF14 character 3 times, and it was always with the free Fantasias. I'm pretty happy with it.
We will face whatever comes.
The Arbiter has been established. This is great news, and a massive step towards restoring balance in the Shadowlands. Your efforts here will not be forgotten. However, it's only one step towards our goal. We must continue to strengthen our position and drive the jailer out.
Warwalker, we have much to discuss.
At long last, we've thwarted the jailer's schemes. Woohoo! Both the Forge of Afterlives and Azeroth World Soul have been restored, and the Shadowlands can now begin to recover from the anima drought. God dang it. I know it is in your nature to push ever over, but this is a monumental victory, and there's a moment of reflection.
Fight.
Because it's a weekly, Bragwin. So, Shadowlands had this issue, and it is only Shadowlands that has this issue, where it would label the weekly quests as MSQ. If you go to your Order Hall, your Covenant Hall, you'll notice the same thing. The quest to go rescue 20 spirits from the Maw, that's also labeled as an MSQ. Very irritating. A Cosmos... We gotta watch it. We gotta watch it one more time. Let's savor it. Let's savor it. This is the last time we're ever seeing this cutscene.
Have betrayed your duty as arbiter, and shall be bound forevermore. Your madness has threatened the cycle of life and death entire.
You could have sought another way, brother.
Also, everyone who says Denathrius was ever good, I point to this. He was already on the jailer's side all the way back then.
What drove you to this end? You preserve that which is doomed. A cosmos divided will not survive. What is to come?
Pissant. Get out of my game. Yep, he was always behind Illidan. Canonically true.
The balance must be restored.
What? Why does... Oh, whatever.
The chains of the past still bind us.
Hang on. Yep, no, that's it.
Much
With the jailer defeated...
more will be required.
Yeah, but I want the track credit for that. I'll probably go do it later. There's a couple of transmogs still in there. And, of course, I'm probably going to want the achievements with the meta. But that's a later thing, so I'm just going to pick that up and leave it in my log. I do that a lot. My log gets a little crowded. Bit by bit, I'll work through it. With the jailer defeated, we must now turn our attention to healing the wounds that he inflicted upon the Shadowlands. That process begins with Sylvanas Windrunner. Though she proved instrumental to our victory, the terrible atrocity she committed has been neither forgotten nor forgiven. She is to face the new Arbiter's judgment in Oribos. Uther awaits you in the Ring of Fates.
The balance. I shall deliver the crown of wills to the Arbiter.
Oh, right.
Then we will bear witness to the fate of Sylvanas Windrunner.
I'm ready. I forgot where the cave is.
Be warned, their words will be harsh.
I expect no less.
Yeah, gee. I can't imagine why anyone would dislike Sylvanas at this point. Yeah, this isn't as good as Evo's, but it's still better. Yeah, I love the ring of guards, keeping everyone away from Sylvanas. That's just, wow. Word of Sylvanas' arrival has spread throughout the Shadowlands. Many wish to see her pay for her crimes, because vengeance is all that drives us. The Arbiter awaits us, though few are allowed within the Crucible. Several who hail from Azeroth have been granted permission to bear witness as he passes judgment on Sylvanas. And we are far from the only ones affected by all the carnage Sylvanas has wrought. Her actions have brought pain and suffering to a great memory. Screaming back at the Banshee as she passes might be the only chance to speak their mind. Let them be heard.
Come, let us be on our way.
You defiled our sacred groves. Torment is all you deserve.
Notice there's some spirits there too, including several from Teldrassil. You see?
How many souls have you doomed?
Technically none, since they're all going to be restored. Well, that's not true. One.
We trusted you! You betrayed us all!
That's an orc, by the way.
My home, my family, all burned to ashes.
You could probably guess who that is. Oh, every one of them has a right to be angry. But things like this is exactly why people like that should not be the ones to pass judgment.
Is it justice they seek, or vengeance?
Anger and pain make it difficult to tell the difference.
You'd know. Both of you would know.
Hear the words of the Ark.
The flow of souls into the Maw has ended. The Covenants and the Shadowlands have been restored. Only one task remains.
That is a hell of a crowd. Greymane's here. Illyria and Verisa are both here. Tyrande and Chandris. Alia's here in the back, along with Lillian. Lorthamar and his wife. I think they're married at this point. If they're not, well, they're about to be. Where's my Ev? Am I blind? Oh, there she is. She really is. Like, just right in between there. Yeah, there's my Ev. She was blending weirdly. So, new Arbiter.
This is my call. Go in peace, Mawwalker. Let us begin.
Oh god. I have so many quests right now, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. There it is. Yeah, Greyman's over there. Sylvanas! Yeah, ignore all the souls going into the Maw. Ignore that, ignore that.
Sylvanas Windrunner, the time for your judgment is at hand. There can be no true justice without compassion. And I can see your deeds bear the mark of the jailer's influence. An influence we failed to contain.
The jailer did not control me. My actions were mine alone, and I accept their consequences.
Debatable, but let's ignore that.
Then, you know in your heart to whom you must answer.
I submit to the judgment of Tyrande Whisper.
Entrusting justice to your most fervent adversary. Are there any gathered here who object to this fate?
Greyman's like, what about me? I like how Anduin almost spoke up. Did you catch that? Jaina's glaring.
What game do you play now, Banshee? The Sylvanas I hunted would never submit to the blade of her enemy.
Death would be a merciful end. Tyrande. And I do not expect your mercy.
Your newfound remorse might be genuine, but it can never erase all you have done. There will be no peace for you, Windrunner, until there is peace for the souls of your victims. The prisoner is in my charge now. Bring her!
What's actually interesting is not only does this make a lot of sense, but the actual fate Tyrande has in mind makes an astonishing amount of sense. I am frankly flabbergasted that Tyrande has enough of a brain to come up with this. If anything convinced me that this is the new Tyrande, the one we'll be seeing in Dragonflight, it's this.
I will judge souls with compassion.
How could I possibly pass judgment to Tyrande's satisfaction when she and her people were the ones most wronged by the Banshee Queen?
The Shadowlands are in your debt.
When I became the new Arbiter, I vowed to myself I would listen to those around me, take counsel into consideration before passing eternal judgment. I have an inkling of what Tyrande intends for Sylvanas. Her fury is tempered by wisdom, and I trust the decision she's made. Meet her at the Ring of Transference.
True justice brings both punishment and renewal. I trust in Tyrande to achieve both.
You know, Greyman's like, Sylvanas! My sandwich is called Sylvanas! Sorry. Down? Down.
And now, after so long, there is much we need to say to one another.
I know, sisters. But judgment comes.
Fun little fact. In the short story between these three, Sylvanas was actually supposed to kill the other two. She had set up a trap for them to do so, but couldn't. It was an interesting little tidbit, and it was probably one of the only signs that there was any of Sylvanas left in the Banshee Queen at that point in history.
Loktar.
When Sylvanas sent her Mossworn to capture me, all I wanted was to escape. To leave the Shadowlands behind and return to my home. My family. And yet this journey has taught me so much. About my mother, about myself. About the legacy we all leave behind. This is not the path I would have chosen, but is the path I needed to walk.
We must fight together.
Also, I'm being interrupted because I can't finish this freaking stream today. Yeah, as I've said several times, forgive me for a massive summary, because this is a whole topic. She was and was not Sylvanas. And the character that is standing before us right here is arguably a completely new person. The forced merger of two separate souls, both of whom went on to become their own people. So, did she do all those terrible things? It's kind of a gray area. She remembers doing all those things. And the piece that went on to do all those things was a piece of her. But again, the problem is most of that only really matters for us. For these characters, they don't care. Someone walking around calling herself Sylvanas is the one who did all those things. They don't differentiate. It's actually funny. I'm sure Huthor is going to disagree with me on this. So, one of the distinctions I've always made very clear is the difference between Arthas and Death Knight Arthas. Because they were two separate people, two split souls. And Death Knight Arthas is the one who went on to become the second Lich King, right? I bring this up because it's almost... I feel like this was a deliberate comparison point. They just didn't really have time to develop because they were racing through the endgame to get Shadowlands over with. I can relate. But a constant thing was everyone said that Arthas, just Arthas, was responsible for everything. Which is not true. to just sort of say that Arthas is like, I just suddenly turned into a mustache-twirling evil monster overnight the moment he picked up the sword, is frankly nonsense. And yeah, I know Huthor doesn't agree. We're just going to throw it out the window. Because it's very clear, and the game has always made it very clear, that they are two separate people. Now, Arthas was not a perfect saint. This is something I always need to point out. Arthas did plenty of bad things before he ever took up the sword, and we can point to him taking up the sword as the specific moment his soul split. But I'm not here to debate that. Huthor, shut up. So, point being, deliberate comparison point. Everyone blames Arthas for the actions of Death Knight Arthas, just like everyone blames this new Sylvanas. This is arguably Sylvanas 4 at this point, for the actions of the Banshee Queen. And that's why I made that distinction earlier, J. Palmer. Sylvanas is taking, you know, the judgment for what the Banshee Queen did. Now, what's interesting about that is you could argue about morality and justice and right, but my personal take on that, she did it for herself. There's an episode of Voyager, which I don't want to go too much into because it's kind of spoilers, but there's an episode where members of the Starfleet crew have memories kind of forcibly beamed into them, right? And they lose it, which is actually absolutely correct. These are Starfleet officers. These are good, just, decent people. They have had these memories. They are being violated by these memories. These memories are imposing upon them horrible actions that they never did, and they cannot cope with that. They cannot comprehend doing something that horrible. And it hurts them, and it causes them that pain. And then the episode falls off a cliff. But up to, like, the first half of the episode actually nails a lot of things very, very well. And that's one of them, is the idea that if memories of something like that hit you, it sticks with you. Yeah, pretty much, J. Palmer. As usual. I bring that up because I think that's a similar comparison. Whether this is the fourth Sylvanas or the first Sylvanas or whatever division you want to do, it's clear that this is not the same Sylvanas that was the Banshee Queen. That this is functionally a new person. However, she still has all the memories of what the Banshee Queen did. Because, obvious, right? Ergo, she still feels that as if she did it. And it still bothers her as if she did it. And yeah, exactly as Miristar. So, of course she would surrender to this judgment, and of course she would pick it pretty much correctly. Do I think she could ever recover those memories? Honestly, that's a good question, Blade Traval. I'm not sure. She's going to have a lot of time to think about it. Forgive me for the side thing, but I just wanted to comment on that, because once again, this is such a fascinating concept that I really wish they would develop more, because we're about to see the end of it. We're just going to move on, because again, racing to the finish line. That's another thing. Imagine for a moment that you have memories of doing something that you would never do, but that you might do at your worst. What would that do to you?
Spirits watch over you.
Sylvanas had me imprisoned and tortured for defying her, though the pain she inflicted upon me pales in comparison to that of her other victims. For a time, I hated her for what she did to me and the Horde, but hatred is a poison. Once it seeps into your veins, it will spell your doom. It is right that Sylvanas faces justice for all she's done. The guilty must stand before those they have wronged, and answer for their crimes.
Stand strong. Stay true.
Actually, yeah, but of all, that's probably our closest real-life comparison point. I know someone personally who had a bit of an alcohol problem. I will not reveal any details for obvious reasons, but let's just say they did something and later on could not comprehend how or why. Like, there was no understanding of what they did, right? Like, why would I ever do that? Was the question he kept asking me over and over. We Sindorai are no strangers to suffering and tragedy. I have seen my people massacred, my kingdom razed, and all I revere defiled. When Silvermoon at last rejoined the world, it was Sylvanas who extended her hand and welcomed us to the Horde. Those days are long behind us now. The devastation and loss inflicted on Azeroth by the Banshee Queen is nigh incalculable. The knowledge that I stood by while so much of it happened still haunts me. Perhaps in the end, judgment will come from me as well.
The light of the Sunwell.
I condemn you to marrying Thalysra. May God have mercy on your soul. Alright, so.
For country, for family.
I refuse to believe that your fallen war chief feels even the slightest remorse for her crimes. When will she answer for what she did to my people? To my son, he glowers. You have much to answer for as well.
My people.
We'll get back to you, Greymane.
We will not allow darkness to triumph.
I'm going to come back to that, actually. Oh, Jaina won't talk to me. Let's go over and talk to Bolvar.
What news?
Sylvanas! As I sat for years upon the frozen throne, I felt a malevolent shadow upon my mind. I didn't realize it was the jailer attempting to twist me into yet another of his pawns. It took all my resolve to resist his influence, and still I have no way of knowing how many of my actions furthered Icecrown Citadel's true purpose. That is what is most insidious about him, even after the jailer's defeat. The doubt he sowed within each of us lives on.
I fear darker.
You know, this is a good time as I need to mention something. How many of you are aware of who the sister of Tukuvma is? Or those of you who are not, there's a character in Star Trek Online. Her name is actually Ja'ula, but I call her the sister of Tukuvma as an insult, because several times throughout this particular story, it's actually 2 separate story arcs in STO, they keep calling her the sister of Tukuvma as a way to show how venerated and awesome she is. Because you know how Klingons are way too attached to bloodlines, right? For those of you who don't remember, Tukuvma was the genocidal zealot madman from Discovery, but let's ignore that. Apparently that's a good thing in Klingon culture. I don't know. Moving on. So that's the double insult. But anyways, Ja'ula is on screen constantly because she's the main villain of an entire story arc, and then the main protagonist of the one immediately after that, because she was always right. You see, she's a Mary Sue, and you know I don't label people that idly. Like, you gotta work at it to deserve that. She was the source of 43 separate negatives to story throughout the course of that arc. I spent a little bit of time going through the negatives we've given to the jailer, and I had to specifically pick just the ones that are directly connected to him and the aspects of the story that he specifically ruins by virtue of his connection. The jailer got 57. Now, I was thinking about that, and the more I chewed on that, the more I agree with that. Because not only is he a worse character in several ways than Ja'ula is, but Ja'ula, while she has one big thing over the jailer. Way more screen time. She's in like every episode, and she's the main villain, and then she's the main hero. Back to back, right? The thing is, Star Trek episodes aren't super long in comparison. The overall amount of screen time she has is certainly denser, but ultimately it's just not that big. And yeah, she doesn't ruin all of STO. She doesn't ruin all of Trek. They tried very hard to make the jailer ruin all of Warcraft. Not just WoW, but the whole shebang. And I was talking about it with my friends, because I just keep trying to process this. I don't think any of this was deliberate sabotage, as some people have suspected, or malevolence. I think that the idea... Yeah, he's even in Hearthstone. That's actually true, by the way. I think the idea was that people in the office legitimately thought, oh crap, we've got to have a big hook to keep players invested in Shadowlands. And they decided to go the Majin Buu route because they're stupid. I think they legitimately thought that was the correct call, was to try and hype up the even biggier villain who was actually behind everything the whole time to try and up the scales and up the stake. You know, you thought Thanos was big. Whoa, wait till you see. And I think that was their approach, and that's why, actually, yes, T. Ziller, that was more specifically fan fiction of Star Trek. I think that was specifically why they just kept connecting them to everything, because they really wanted everyone to be super invested in taking down this super ultra mega big bad guy. And the problem was they were rushed, the office was on fire, and he sucks. 57 negatives says all it needs to. I do not. What is the jailer? Hang on, let's look it up right now. Let's look up the jailer in Hearthstone. What do we got? There he is. He's a legendary minion card. What? Okay, I don't know how many of you know Hearthstone. It's a deck game, right? Like kind of Magic the Gathering-ish, that genre of game. So, sure, yeah, I think I could show this on screen. Hang on, let me find the image, just the image. I really hate WebP! WebP is so stupid! You think that's gonna stop me? So here's the jailer. Let me make this nice and big so you can read that text. So in case you can't, on the off chance you can't read that or just listening, he costs 10, which is insane. He has 10 health, 10 attack power, and he has a battle cry. In other words, when he goes out, he destroys your deck! Yeah, he costs your entire mana pool, not counting shenanigans, and destroys your deck! He also gains immune. Yeah, he's the only thing that matters when you play him, and he's actually unbeatable. And then you immediately lose. Because, actually, I'm not sure if you lose in Hearthstone when you can't draw a card. I'm not sure what happens if you get milled in Hearthstone. Of course that's intentional. Of course it is. Okay, you take increasing damage. Got it. So you have a ticking clock as you are dying because you've killed yourself. I actually know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the name either. Dakota High off the Teeper end. Oh, that's great. Yeah. So yeah, I stand by 57 negatives, forgive me, because they tried so hard to make him the big ear bad guy, and they just, it's like that thing where the train runs into another train and catches on fire, and the fire trucks show up to put it out, and then they catch on fire, and then the helicopter shows up to drop water, and somehow, in the air, hundreds of feet away, the helicopters catch on fire, and then just crash into it, and then the whole city starts burning, and then a meteor slams into it. It's like they just kept screwing it up every time, and I really feel like at some point in time, the writers were like, let's just get rid of this guy. Let's just... There we go. Because you saw... speaking of which, you want another little fun factoid? Because I've been keeping track of a couple of things. Counting when he shows up as Anduin, he has 12 appearances. Not in the expansion. Ever. 12. This guy has so little screen time, which makes sense, actually, in hindsight. We know the jailer was kind of tacked onto things. No, it does not, J. Palmer, because he's not in that cinematic. How many are separate from this expansion? 0! He never shows up outside of this expansion. Okay, J. Palmer's wanting to pull, like, the ultimate, technically. Because J. Palmer apparently hates my guts. So I'm going to put out a hit on J. Palmer. Everyone, please assassinate J. Palmer as quickly as humanly possible. But anyways. Words. So 12 or 13 appearances in all of Warcraft Forever. 12 of which are inside of Shadowlands. I knew it! I accuse you of being the jailer. 12 appearances, which makes sense. We know that the jailer was kind of stapled on to the story. It's so obvious. When you really actually analyze and break down the story, it's very clear that the jailer is not supposed to be here. You could say that there's supposed to be something there that's arguable, like some kind of bigger bad in the distance, but the jailer specifically, it doesn't fit. Too many of the story beats do not fit with him being present. And as I've pointed out throughout this entire run, too many of these story beats make sense if he is not there. Relevance? That's why he's not here so often. Because it's easy to write a quest text like here. If I hit this button right here and I pull up this quest, you see this quest text right here? That takes minutes literal minutes to change, edit, polish, do the editing patch, and make sure that it's formatted properly, and then dump it into the game. That is a minuscule change. Do you know how much time it takes to change scripted voice-acted sections or animated cutscenes or anything like that? So, of course, yeah, it takes a much longer period of time. So it makes super sense that that's why he just kind of gets crudely stapled on to pre-existing sequences and cutscenes. Because so much of the rest of the stuff couldn't be edited to include him. That's actually a good analogy, but I liked it. Who played the jailer? I was looking that up. I forget his name. It's someone I didn't recognize. Hang on. Edward Bosco, who supposedly has done nothing else for Warcraft, or for Blizzard, I should say. Let's see, what has he done? He's apparently in the recent Yakuza as additional voices. That's always helpful. He is the NSO as additional voices. Ooh, I hope this wasn't career poison to him. He's in Lego Fortnite as additional forces. He's in Persona 5 as additional voices. Oh, geez. He apparently voices someone named Kazan. It's the first name I see here in Octopath Traveler 2. Yeah, I don't see a lot here. He has a lot of additional voices. And there's Shadowlands, the jailer. That might have been a career killer. That's actually kind of a shame. Several, Primarch. Several. Whatever. He's been in a lot of stuff, actually, going back quite a while. Yeah, he started voice acting in the early aughts. Yeah, imagine you're the big bad of an expansion, and you get 12 scenes. Jesus. On the plus side, it's only an afternoon of recording. All right. Moving on. Yeah, no kidding, Huthor. God. So anyways. While we're here, another little factoid. I'm going to share how long this is later, but I found something interesting. 26 hours of Shadowlands was just the Covenant campaign. And if that sounds like a weird number, to put that in perspective, that's almost half of all of Shadowlands was just the 4 Covenant campaigns. I had no idea how long that was going to take. And remember, we were kind of racing through those because we could skip so many of the side things that were attached to it. And that's just, yeah, they're pretty meaty. Ooh. How's that compared to Legion Lord Halls? I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure by sheer virtue of the time gates, Legion beats that. But that was actually the comparison I wanted to bring. There's a reason why the Covenants were the last hurrah of the Legion Order Halls concept, because they fill almost the exact same slot. They're decent, but mostly padded, and the gameplay axis of them kind of sucks, and they're there to pad out the runtime while they wait for the patches to come in. The difference was the patch cycle in Legion wasn't great, but it was better than the nonsense of almost a year in between each patch of Shadowlands. Anyways, sorry. Derailment over. You know, that's actually a good question by Tamal. Another villain I absolutely hated. Uther, what's up? In life, Sylvanas Windrunner served as Ranger General of Silvermoon. If you had told her then of the atrocity she would have committed in death, she wouldn't have believed you. We all sometimes harbor darkness in our hearts. It was come to mine. What I did to Arthas could have become the first step on a path to damnation. Yet from understanding flows compassion, and compassion can save us from any darkness. Yes, as additional voices, J. Palmer, that's funny. It is an ideal to which we must all aspire, though we must never forget that it does not come easily.
What is your report?
Do you believe this to be justice, Demon Hunter? That Sylvanas be allowed to endure after slaughtering countless innocents? There was a time when rage clouded my vision. I turned my glaive against my own people, and after my beloved comrade Sira was struck down and raised into undeath, she unleashed her hatred against us. By rights, both our lives were forfeit, yet I was given a chance to mend that which I had sought to tear asunder. Not for my sake, but for those whom I had wronged. I pray Sira may receive the chance as well. As for Sylvanas, I do not know if this is justice, but I believe it is right.
My vigil continues. Ishnu Allah.
The Kaldori, those who burned as well as those who survived, have long awaited this moment, to know that the Banshee will be made to answer for all she's done. Many called for her head, some still do, and I doubt that anything less will satisfy them, but Sylvanas spoke true when she said death would be a mercy. If she can spare the souls from the torment of the Maw, perhaps penance will be more valuable than execution.
Goddess watch
I think it was Asmiristar mentioned this. Maiev just chills out a lot when Illidan leaves the narrative. It's funny. Like how much her hate boner just kind of goes away, and she just kind of becomes a much more legit character afterwards. Interestingly enough, the same thing happens to Tyrande. I don't think that's related. I think they just got better writers for her. Anduin.
We will claim victory.
The shadow of the things I've seen, what the jailer forced me to do, hangs over me. For the part you played in setting me free, I will always be grateful, but I cannot pretend I simply go back to being the person I was. I need time. About 5 years, actually. Or 7? No doubt the Horde will rely on your courage in the days ahead. Defend Azeroth, Zalash, no matter what comes.
Honor those we have lost.
Use every weapon at your disposal.
I think we decided he was about 19, Evo? 19 or 20. As I fought demons for centuries across the Twitch-Tree Nether, roll eyes, I clung to the hope that I would one day hold my son again and stand behind my sisters once more. I can never imagine the fate that befell Sylvanas or the monstrous choices she would make thereafter. Verisa desperately hopes the return of her soul fragment means her sister's been returned to us. I'm less certain. But I've learned to be patient. I will be watching.
Aim true.
After witnessing Sylvanas' deeds during the war, I feared the last vestige of the sister I knew was gone forever, but when I heard what transpired here, I had to see for myself. I'd understand if you thought me a fool for having hope, but I've lost so many that I loved. If there's even a chance that a spark of Sylvanas I knew had returned, then I refuse to give up on her.
Fight well.
Zalash. Before I face the coming judgment, I would share words with you. I was recently reminded we cannot change the past. If you choose to hate me for things I've done, I could not blame you for it, but know this. We shared common cause once, and you've proven your dedication to the Horde time and again. I hope you will continue to defend it, no matter what may come. Actually, no, it came out of nowhere, Valivalda. It's one of those interesting things, because the only soul split that was actually planned and set up in advance was Arthas's. Uther's was a retcon, and Sylvanas's was a retcon. I'm not mad about that. It's just both of them were definitely the kind of thing that was not designed from word go.
Below lies the Maw, an unjust fate to which you doomed so many. And it will be there that your penance begins. Every soul lost in its depths, betrayed or condemned, you shall find and send forth to the Arbiter, to be judged with the compassion all souls deserve. You will toil there, under Doratha's watchful eye, scouring every darkened reach, until the final soul is free, and you are all that remains. This is how you shall bring renewal to your victims and my people.
However long it takes, it shall be done.
Undo Falador, old friend. Watch her well.
What I find fascinating about this is Tyrande is doing this to be cruel. But essentially, by coincidence, she's making absolutely the right call. You notice that little tidbit she threw out there, right? It's not just the souls that were accidentally damned here because of the breaking of the mechanism of death, but every soul that ended up there, in other words, the ones that got filtered out from Revendreth, every soul emptied from the Maw. And yeah, that tracks.
Elune, light your way. The Banshee's penance will save countless lost souls. A fate that would not have come to pass had I slain her in Ardenweald. Perhaps that is why Mother Moon stayed my hand.
Doubtful.
The Horde inflicted a grievous wound upon my people. You may never earn my trust, but you have my thanks for setting things right.
We each walk a line. Choose yours. For so long, there had been little more than hatred and malice in our sister's eyes. To at last see a glimmer of the Sylvanas we knew. I had ceased hoping for such a thing. I am pleased we had a chance to speak with her, Verisa. I only wish we'd had more time. As do I. But if she stays true to her word and sees this obligation through, perhaps one day we will. It will never be like it was before. The pain she inflicted upon the Kaldoroi, upon the world. How could she ever answer for it? I'm not certain she can. But if her penance brings any measure of peace to those she wronged, at least it is a start. You are right, Lady Sun. Our family has endured so much darkness. We must find a way to cling to hope. Yes, Little Moon. Mother. Father. Lyrith. They are only memories. We thought our sister was as well. But now, we shall see.
I was about to say, Lyrith? Hi, Ross. Yeah, I don't remember where they are, but I do remember there's this quest. Let's save that. Let's save that. That feels like that comes later. Yes, Lyrith was their little brother. Emphasis on past tense. I don't know what this quest is. Hang on. One moment. Hang on, J. Palmer. Yeah, I think that's the seed. I think you're right. We could do that really quick. We've got a couple of wrap-ups to do here. Okay. Let's do this first. Who's ready to get discount? What do you want about they didn't fix the bug? This bug has been 100% consistent.
Welcome.
I'm even going to deliberately provoke it.
Eternal City.
Okay, now let's look at J. Palmer's questions. Do I think Arthas and Sylvanas were kind of how Benezia described the Reaper indoctrination? No, not at all. Do I think that this is the start of Sylvanas' redemption in Sylvanas' own eyes? Absolutely, yes. as I said earlier, I feel like I already said this. I firmly believe that at least part of the reason that Sylvanas 4 went along with this is specifically because she felt soul-crushing levels of guilt for what she did. Like, the Banshee Queen wasn't just evil. She committed atrocities. You know? Like, there's evil, and then there's what are you smoking? I do, actually. And no, Mr. Floyd. After all, we know Nathanos is somewhere in the maw. I would be a little, admittedly, surprised if she doesn't come back to some extent. Maybe not as a main character, but something. I mean, they keep talking up Midnight as if it's the Elven expansion. And remember, this is... what, like 7 years ago now? Hang on. No, that's much more recently. This has only been 3 years. Never mind. I thought this was longer ago. Alright, here we go. And we're gonna hit the jump cap. Oh my god, they fixed it. Oh, there it goes. I think that was referring to her wanting to be with Nathanos. Something that she was never really allowed to do back when she was still alive. Let's ignore that question, J. Palmer. Let's just push that question out the door. There we go, it's gone. It's called the jump cap, Late Taval, and it is 100% consistent when you land at that spot. Forgive me, I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup very quickly, just while we're here.
Your spirit is a bright one.
The Owlcat and the Silithid.
Our spirits will endure.
I think I'm going to change to Silithid. I can find it. There it is. Boop.
Until next time.
Oh yeah, this is me now. Hi. Turn this crap in really quick. The only reason I even care is some of this might be part of the meta. And so I'm not throwing away anything from Shadowlands unless I'm absolutely certain it's not worth something. Flying bug. Flying bug. That's also why I bothered to get the soul shapes, or rather to keep the soul shapes. Put some anima in there. There we go. And, I'll hold off on those for right now. Where's this stupid quest? Where's this stupid quest? It is probably worth noting that the original Nathanos and the original Sylvanas were probably a little bit more of a couple. But the Nathanos you knew and the Banshee Queen you knew, yeah, that's not what I would call a relationship. That's just, it was actually very messed up. There it is.
Much remains to be done.
Tyrande, Whisperwind, you came to my realm in pursuit of justice. Did you find it?
I came here seeking vengeance. But within these groves, and by the light of Elune, I found something I feared lost. Hope.
And thanks to that choice, a sister's bond, once broken, has been mended. This tear was born of sorrow. Now it shall become a vessel of renewal. These souls were saved from the darkness of the moon. Unto them I have offered eternal tranquility in the bowels of Ardenweald.
Choice again.
They have chosen instead to become part of a new beginning for their kin.
By the way, this is going to come up later. As with most of Ardenweald, this is actually going to have consequences. So rather than accepting moving on or having eternal afterlife or whatever...
Seed embodies the cycle of death and life.
They're pouring their souls into the seed.
I offer it to you, Tyrande Whisperwind. May it bring your people happiness and peace.
We'll get to that later, J. Palmer. For now, the seed is exactly what seeds are.
All the Kaldori, I thank you. Andu Falador.
Yeah, we'll cover it later. Don't worry about it, J. Palmer. Don't worry about it. Soul sacrifice. Moving on.
Keep your eyes sharp and your foot...
The Winter Queen called her gift a seed. Ysera, my beloved friend. Could it truly be so?
Yes. I sense this seed is touched by the dream as well as by Ardenweald. A symbol of the crucial balance between life and death.
Then it must be kept safe until it can take root.
I know of a place it can be protected, but it has been so long. Bring the seed to my daughter.
Hint, hint.
Marithra will know where it should be taken.
Are you not returning to Azeroth with us? Surely the Winter Queen will allow you to...
When the Queen used her own essence to revive me from the Wild Seed, it bound my soul to this realm. I cannot leave it. Not without great sacrifice.
Hint, hint.
Then tell us the price, and it shall be paid.
No, my friends. The Kaldori need you beside them once more. If Elune wills it, I shall soar through Azeroth's skies again. One day.
I'm going to be real. Remember, I haven't seen any of this. This is the first time I've done this on my main. This is funny, seeing this after having done Dragonflight. I had no idea they were lining this up this directly. Ysera even directly just referenced the Dragon Isles. Huh. Okay, question. Where do I start the Blood Elf weapon quest? I should be able to do it on this character, because I'm reasonably certain I did the Blood Elf Heritage on this quest. Or on this character. Oh. Well, okay, I'm here. At the Covenant Hall.
Elune be with you. Be careful.
Oh, okay. Back to Oribos, then. As a bug. Hey. Actually, no, Tzula. We're not done yet.
Where do we strike?
Watch the shadows.
We have 2 questions left. And then a cutscene. While we're flying there, I'm going to read something to you. You remember Firim? He was cool. He has a series of journals you can find over the course of Zereth Mortis. As my exile begins, I cannot help but think back on the events that led to our arrival. They doubted me, mocked me, conspired to replace me as they unsheathed their blades of doubt and skulked forward to strike me down. It happened. The geometry revealed itself. The fractals aligned. At long last, I found the way to Zereth Mortis. No other mind could conceive the formula required to succeed. Portal after portal, tuned, retuned, stretching out and looping back on themselves. No wonder somebody before me had failed. The fools among our expedition rushed to plunder the land's mysteries and paid the price for their folly. Did I not insist the first ones would not leave their secrets unguarded? The survivors learned their lesson and heeded my warnings. We found a safe foothold, a haven from which our work began, but our fragile harmony would not endure. The deeper we delved into the mysteries of Zereth Mortis, the more of my colleagues became affected. Even Executor Alcrath, perhaps the most glory-driven of anyone in the expedition, began to regard the knowledge we gleaned as sacred. In time, Alara and the others perceived the great truth. We could not send word of our discoveries back to the Overseer. The secrets of the first ones were not to be plundered. Outsiders only disrupt the crucial purpose of Zereth Mortis. We shattered our portals. I blotted out my translocation equations, even from my own mind. Any temptation that might lead us back to the Outer Realms was forfeit. Our hearts sang as we renounced our cartel designations. From that day forth, I was simply Firim. And while I did not seek to profit from the progenitor's knowledge, I did want to understand it. And that's where the schism began. Why had I been burdened by the company of mind so small? Even in a land of infinite wonder, the dullards who walked alongside me in Haven failed to appreciate the purpose that drove every thought and deed. I had to reach the sepulchre. It was blasphemy, they claimed. The mysteries were too sacred, truths not to be approached or even pondered. They labeled me a heretic. My back was turned. They sabotaged my research. Just as I neared the translation of a new cipher, Kairith would send me some meddling pilgrim to interfere. Our bitter feud stretched on and became irreconcilable. Eventually they declared me an apostate and banished me from Haven, the very foothold I had given them. Still, I bore this indignity in a manner befitting of one of my intellect and resolve. In exile, I would outpace them all. And so I did. Though access to the sepulchre continued to elude me, I learned much by observing the Automa. Admittedly, I underestimated them at first. They seemed mere servitors, less capable of independent thought than the muddled-minded attendants in Oribos. But like everything else in Zereth Mortis, they were part of a pattern, geometry that shifted, expanding and contracting as demanded by the duty put before them. After all, this land is no museum, no library of obscurities. This is a workshop, a forge where the afterlives are crafted. When I detached my consciousness from the limitations of perceptions, I saw the grand architect of the progenitors that had been put into practice. Afterlives assembled according to the needs of the Arbiter's judgments. It was the Automa who carried out these duties, forging flora, fauna, terrain, encasing them in orbs to be sent out to the in-between, like seeds falling into fertile soil. Do you see? Do you understand as I do? Everything about the Shadowlands, everything is part of the pattern. A closed system in which nothing is lost. Even that which is seemingly destroyed is merely being reshaped for new purpose. Purpose. Myopic though they are, perhaps the attendants should understand some small measure of this mystery. By the way, that's what those spheres are. Those contain resources that go out into the various constructed afterlives. I observed many types of Automa of varying sizes and shapes, guardians, builders, collectors, and a more petite variety that seemed to revel in the duties of upkeep and repair. Besides an unwavering devotion to their obligations, these Automa shared another notable trait, their language. They spoke not in words I could understand, but tones and echoes. Know that I, Firim, am renowned for my linguistic skills. Though a rival in the Shadowlands imbues mortal souls with a knowledge of the words of death, many retain memories of the language they used on their worlds. And what is language if not a system of sounds and patterns, I ask you? So yes, of course I'd observed countless languages during my interviews of mortal souls. Thus, you will understand my confidence that the language of the Automa would pose little challenge. Never in my existence had I been so wrong. The language of the Automa is not mere words. No, it's part and parcel part of the ciphers. The words themselves were key to understanding the geometry, the fractals. There was so much waiting to be discovered, but it was when I encountered one of the rarest forms of Automa, my mind was truly opened. See, Automa were commonplace in Zereth Mortis, but not all types. One was exceedingly rare, like polished jewels amongst the infinite grains of sand. The oracles. They sang songs to their kin, and so at first I thought they were unique only in appearance, but as I drew closer to one to observe its duty, something unexpected happened. I heard its voice, and yet the term voice falls short. To be sure, I experienced the sensation of words being spoken in much the same manner one does while conversing with a colleague, but this was so more. I felt the words as much as I heard them. The thoughts entered my consciousness and conveyed their meaning to my entire being. What words did it offer? Images, riddles, prophecies. And as they reverberated through my very core, I remembered my conversation with Eric II and the 1,000 truths they spoke of. And then it struck me. The oracles spoke in both one truth and 1,000, not as separate thoughts, but as one and the same instant. If the oracles, entities left behind to oversee a workshop, could think in such terms, how much more complex must the minds of their makers be? Long have I scoffed of what I learned of the Titans, the Void Lords, or the demons. I held Death's pantheon in higher regard, but now I know that they are just as limited. Truth lies not in one direction or another, but intersection. The first ones had parceled out their gifts, but gave no child all of them. No wonder their offspring bickered with such incessant jealousy. Their very nature was one of denial. At this realization I lost consciousness, for I had once again transcended into a new plane of thought. So, real quick, Eric II, because you were probably wondering what that was about, was an insectoid who possessed 100 eyes and spoke with 4 tongues, accompanied by clicking from their legs. According to Fareem, this makes their speech somewhat difficult to understand, and the name of their homeworld is almost impossible to comprehend, let alone write down. Eric II died in a terrible war when their home was ravaged by the Legion. The Arbiters assigned their soul, along with several others, to an afterlife in the form of a hive where they could share a long and pleasant coexistence. After many ages spent caring for their kin, Eric II's soul ventured on and returned to Oribos to marvel at its splendor. You can actually find Eric II as part of like one of those event things in Zereth Mortis. Every new discovery in Zereth Mortis drew me back to the mysteries of the first ones. I sought to understand their nature, yet every time I believed I was nearing an answer, I found myself drifting further away. I considered again their design, the pattern, lines, curves, arcs, angles, and turns. Oh, so many turns. The 6 forces that pointed towards a 7th, and yet denied it. For a long time, while I considered the seeming contradiction no more than another variable, an unknown waiting to be solved, but the song of the oracle continued to reverberate in my consciousness. As I allowed my focus to soften, my grip upon the tangible to loosen, the geometry took shape in my mind. It was both 6 and 7. The 6 were one and the 7 the other. Did they desire union? The song seems to say otherwise. Both were, yet only one could be. The melody shifted, and I shuddered at the shape it took. This was not a variable to be solved. It was a solution waiting its opportunity. The song must not be allowed to end. Do the first ones still sing it? I do not know. But if they do not, then who will? Final chapter. Though the jailer has been defeated and the Shadowlands made whole again, I find myself unable to celebrate these victories, for I have studied the inner workings of the sepulchre, seen the powers with which the jailer sought to remake reality. These observations fill me with fear that shakes me to the very core of my being. It is clear to me now there must be a Zereth for each side of the cosmos, and with them, then, an inner sanctum, akin to the sepulchre. If that's true, then these sanctums must be connected on some fundamental level, a connection the jailer sought to exploit. When he began, the sepulchre was meant to cascade outward from one Zereth to the next, until all were dominated by his power. The heart of the Shadowlands acting as a doorway to the heart of each cosmic force, one after another bound to his will. But if his scheme was thwarted, then why is my mind so ill at ease? Because I have seen how fragile the pattern is, how delicate the scales that keep the six forces in balance. And if the jailer in his act of malevolence left behind but the most imperceptible of cracks in that pattern, then I fear what is tiny now will only grow, until the balance itself is prone to be shattered by another force, applying relentless pressure. I pray the first ones anticipated such an eventuality, that they would leave measures in place to preserve their grand design, unless the design was never meant to endure. That is the possibility that haunts me. I hope all that's nonsense, by the way. I'm sorry to say that. I hope all of that's just the ravings of a madman. I don't want any of that to be canon.
There is much to be done. Without the helm of domination to control them, the scourge roams leaderless. Nothing remains to temper their aggression.
Indeed. The mightiest among them already vie for supremacy. Like vicious warlords in the wake of their king's death.
We cannot allow any of them to seize command and unite their forces. The Ebon Blade must remain vigilant.
And so we shall. Though Azeroth may never truly be rid of the Scourge, we will keep them in check. You have my word.
Ice-Crown Citadel remains a seat of dark power. We must not let it fall into enemy hands. Perhaps I should return to...
No, Bolvar. Let the Frozen Throne sit vacant. The Knights of the Ebon Blade will safeguard the Citadel in your stead. Talia needs her father.
Darian, thank you. Strange, is it not? We both lived lives of service, and even after facing death itself, we still feel compelled to serve others.
Sometimes, the greatest act of service is to be present for those who need us. Until we meet again, High Lord.
That is a good damn question. The answer is it was on fire. I know we keep saying that, but it really should be emphasized that that really is the answer. Everything was on fire. There's the Blood Elf quest. We're not going to do that just yet. I want to find one other thing that I think is here. Listen, we can't be rid of the Scourge, okay? We got other stuff going on. We gotta have a 5-year time gap. I swore he was out here. There he is. There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, people keep asking, where's Captain Taylor? Excuse me, Admiral Taylor. Here he is! Can't interact with him. No lines of dialogue. No cutscene. He's just here. Looking at Bastion, apparently. Moving on. Yeah, Taylor was the guy they invented to be Nazrim's counterpart over in Kata, is when he first showed up. Pretty much, Kraken-san. Pretty much. Someone asked me a question literally yesterday. How could Dragonflight be so good? Like, Dragonflight isn't the best expansion ever, but it was such a breath of fresh air after Shadowlands. So how? Like, how did they have the opportunity for that? I decided to process that question, because it's a very valid and interesting question. I need to go down for this, don't I? God damn it. And I actually have an answer, believe it or not. It's because of Blizzard's work cycle. Hear me out a second. So, Lotro, and most MMOs actually, have the very, very simple work cycle. So, they sit, let's say an expansion has just come out. Okay, expansion comes out. Now that the expansion is out, pushed out the door, they usually take like a month or two to just kind of chill. And then they go ahead and they start working on the next expansion. Once that new expansion comes out, it comes out, and then they go back to working on the new expansion. Now, you're probably thinking, well, duh, that's the normal process which most MMOs go through, and you're right. Most MMOs follow this development cycle. Release, pause, development of new expansion, release, pause, development of new expansion. WoW doesn't do that. There is a non-zero chance that if WoW did that, Shadowlands would have been the end. If they didn't start working on Dragonflight until here, there's a good chance that it would never have even come out. But that's not how WoW does things. WoW works on things in a staggered development cycle. They can do this because they have the money, the backing, the resources, and it's WoW. It has such a gargantuan player base that they can literally afford double the teams of what other large-scale MMOs do. So what they do instead is an expansion releases, and this is your launch content, and right about here they have already started working on the next expansion, while another team is working on the patches for this expansion. By the time most of these patches are done, this team has already finished most of the work on the next expansion, at which point this team starts working on the patches for the next expansion, and so on and so forth. In other words, by the time of the quest we're seeing right now, Dragonflight was functionally finished. There was a lot of extra work that had to be done, but a huge amount of the bulk of that was already done, locked in, and designed. Cinematics, storyboarding, writing, customization, quests, zone layout, all that stuff, all of the base stuff was already done. It's fascinating, actually. It's the kind of thing that has a lot of obvious benefits and detriments. The detriment is obvious because you can see it right here in Shadowlands. Because of that staggered cycle, they can't react to things because they've already started making the next thing by the time the feedback has happened, right? So Shadowlands was about the time, well, Shadowlands was almost done by the time they started getting negative feedback from BFA. At that point, it's too late to really course correct. So the other team tried to do what it could with the patches, and we saw how that went throughout Shadowlands as they kind of adjusted through the 2 patches that Shadowlands had. But the benefit of that is what I just told you. Because of the fact that there's always another vine they're already swinging to, if something happens to the vine you're on, you do still at least have the next vine to swing to. In other words, if Shadowlands had actually killed WoW, Dragonflight would have still come out. And that means Dragonflight had a chance at being a shot in the arm for the MMO, and that is exactly what happened. I really need to emphasize that Shadowlands really did almost kill WoW. Now, Classic is actually what saved it, but it's worth noting that Dragonflight was a huge boost to player base. In fact, it's one of the first bumps in player base during an expansion cycle they have had since BC. Which I'm not going to go into the specifics of why that's a big deal, but it's a big deal. So, yeah. And yeah, Huthor is correct. They got rid of the systems bloat, which had been getting worse, I would say, since Warlords, honestly, but at the very least, since Legion. And instead, Dragonflight had gear. Oh, there was set gear, but... And you can upgrade gear, but that's still just gear, right? So you can upgrade gear, you can make gear set gear, and then you have gear. And this is if you're really stretching it. Anyways, I just thought it was fascinating to think about. For all its detriments, it was probably a good thing that they already had Dragonflight mostly doing well. Oh no, that's exactly Xavion. Dragonflight's launch was not super great, but word of mouth spread pretty fast. I will actually admit from a purely anecdotal perspective that I was one of those people who did not come back with Dragonflight, because I said, bull crap, I remember Shadowlands. It wasn't until a friend of mine, who was not PAX, someone else entirely, had been like, wow, you know, insert such and such this thing, and insert, and I'll talk about when we get there, but there was a specific scene they pointed out to me, and I was just like, huh. And I talked to PAX about it, and I was like, let's give it a month. And then we did, and we were pretty impressed. So we went in, and yeah, word of mouth spread. Anyways, moving on.
What news do you bring?
And yeah, Dragonflight's retention is honestly kind of crazy. I don't remember have the numbers in front of me, but I know it's one of the highest retention rates they've ever had in an MMO. Oh goody, Greymane wants to talk.
There is much to be done.
Hail, champion. The Alliance must endure.
I can't tell you how relieved I am to see you safe, my king. Even after reading Jaina's reports, I can scarcely imagine the horrors you endured.
There were times I thought I would never escape the jailer's control. The things he made me do.
Those actions were not your fault. You cannot blame yourself.
I should have been stronger.
And Rin, you are the strongest man I know. And when you return to Stormwind, the whole kingdom will tell you the same.
I can't go back, Ken. Not yet.
But the people need...
Turallion will keep the Alliance safe in my absence. And I know you watch over everyone we care about. Old Wolf.
Of course. Take whatever time you need. And when you're ready, please, come home.
What brings you to me?
To think we now stand on the other side of the veil. That those we lost await us here, among these countless afterlives. Is there anyone you would seek out, Bane? For one last conversation before you return to the land of the living?
No need to spare my feelings, Lorthamar. You are asking if I wish to find my father. The truth is, I do not need to. His spirit is always with me, wherever I go, whatever I do, guiding me just as his ancestors guided him. And what of you? Is there someone you would visit, given this chance?
Prince Kael'thas. Long have I held the title of Regent Lord, all the while wondering if I was truly suited to lead my people. I would ask the last liege of Silvermoon if he regrets the choices he made. A chance to mend old wounds, and perhaps feel that the torch has truly been passed.
A feeling I understand all too well. I pray your conversation brings you the peace you seek, my friend.
Look, don't worry about it, Master. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
We have made many sacrifices. Well met, King Greymane.
Regent Lord?
I hope the fate of Sylvanas Windrunner brings the Alliance some measure of peace.
Peace? You stand in the Shadowlands, Regent Lord. Ask the dead she sent here whether they feel peace. As for me, that's something I will never know. Not while the monster who killed my son still endures.
I understand. My people are haunted by the deeds of monsters as well.
And what of you? Are you hoping that the Ranger General you served comes back from the Maw, or would you prefer having your war chief again?
I spent most of my life alongside the Windrunner family. Sylvanas was my hero, and my friend. But the banshee who nearly led the horde to ruin was neither.
Then you shouldn't have followed her commands. Good day, Regent Lord.
Good day, King Greymane.
Oh, sorry, Greymane. I didn't mean to knock you into the pit. Hey, Sylvanas, you're gonna have to pick Greymane out too. Joking aside, one thing I like about that, it's a very, very, very minor thing. Lord Thamar is one of the very, very few people who, like us, identifies the Banshee Queen and Sylvanas as separate people. You might be thinking, why is that significant? Because Lord Thamar knew her. The other two people who make that distinction are her sisters. I only point that out because actually that makes perfect sense in universe. We, the players, have access to a lot of information they don't. We see a lot of things from Sylvanas' perspective, so we can tell things like different people, right? We can make that judgment. Most people around here, they literally don't have the intel necessary to say that. But Lord Thamar does, which makes sense. Minor commentary.
Thank you for all. When my service to the Kyrian began, and I first learned of the Maw, the knowledge filled me with sorrow. A mortal life is so incredibly brief. I questioned whether any actions taken within that span of time could truly be worthy of eternal torment.
I confess that as an aspirant, I did not think of such things. Only of duty. It was not until I witnessed Uther's plight that I recognized the injustice of the Maw.
Never again will a mortal soul be sent to its depths. All deserve a chance at redemption. Recent events have shown us that a single mortal soul, in fact, every mortal soul, can alter the course of eternity.
Indeed. For good or for ill. In the end, it was mortals and their decisions that shaped the fate of the Shadowlands.
As Arbiter, I will take that lesson to heart. Every soul will be treated with compassion and will be given a voice in which afterlife awaits them.
I was actually thinking about the same thing. Obviously, all of this is non-canon, fling it out the window. But it's interesting to think about, because as I've pointed out before, there's a decent amount of evidence that the Maw wasn't super hell until the jailer went there, right? And he turned it into super. Remember, the two things that really make it super hell are the two fates you can receive, and those fates are something he does to people who are in there. He's gone. No one's running the Maw. It's just a pit now, the bottom of the Shadowlands. Hypothetically, it could still be used as Australia, for lack of a better way to put that. But I get the strong feeling that they kind of don't want to use it for anything other than, you know, the containment cell going forward. And yeah, I don't think Pelagos is the kind of person to be like, and the Maw. This is also one of the reasons why Sylvanas is evacuating everyone from the Maw, because nobody should be in the Maw, even when it's not super hell. Now, that's actually not a bad idea, Playtall. Literally turned it into a limbo. The waiting room in Forgotten Realms, if you're familiar with it. I forget what it's called, but you probably know. So let's go ahead and do the Blood Elf quests first, on the character we're currently on.
Anaria Shala.
Let's not mince words. You're urgently needed in Silvermoon. What? We're experiencing a resurgence of Scourge in Quel'Tha loss. With nothing to hold the Scourge in check, we'll be overrun. Okay?
Remain vigilant.
Sure. Actually, the idea of Scourge warlords, like kind of like how the EU and Star Wars had like the Imperial warlords, the warlords era, sounds kind of cool to me. They'll probably never do anything with that. Oh my god, I'm never finishing it. It's just, I'm just locked here forever. I am in the Maw in real life off the deeper end. I do too, as Miristar. I get why they're not focusing on it now. They kind of want to distance themselves from everything, but You could have just like a random warlord show up now and again as part of his own quest, or maybe as a backdrop for a character piece. Because if you think about it, there's a lot of Scourge. Like, a lot. Like, they're not at the level of, say, the Zerg Swarm, but they're probably in the number 2 slot, you know? We'll see, Evo. And that is the answer to that question. Ugh. That would be interesting, Kraken-san. And yes, Platonol.
Pleasantries can wait.
Aethys, Romnath, Lorthamar, Liadrin.
Aldiel Shala, fight well.
So what's going on?
These reports are alarming, Lady Liadrin. Tranquillion is in danger of being overrun by Scourge?
Their forces appear far too organized for this to be some random attack. Perhaps we should request additional aid from our Horde allies.
I'm right here.
And waste more time awaiting their arrival? No. We must address this at once.
Oh. I guess I don't
care. We must call up those still in training. We will hold the line and keep Quel'Thalas safe. I swear it.
Very well. I will open the way and meet you in Tranquillion.
I am the Blade of the Light. Shorel Aran.
Romoth has opened a way for you to quickly travel to Tranquillion, which is good, because I hate traveling in these 4 zones. Take the portal. I'll be right after you. And keep an eye on Salandria. She may have excelled in her training thus far, but she has yet to be tested like this. Whoa.
Are you sure about bringing up trainees to fight? This is no mere training exercise.
I am. You will find their skills are more than adequate, but I shall let their performance prove it. They are ready.
I look forward to good news then. May the Eternal Sun guide you, Liadrin.
Finally! It feels as if I've been in training for ages. Send me to Tranquillion!
Salandria, this will be no easy task. More will be expected of you than any other.
Then I should prove myself, right? You said it yourself. We'll hold the line and keep Quel'Thalas safe. I intend to do just that.
Go then, and scout beyond the Dead Scar. Report back to Tranquillion with what you find.
How many of you remember her? Because I do. Salandria was a blood elf during Children's Week back in BC. She was one of the orphans. She's one of the ones we carry around. And one of the specific things we did, there was 2 that I'll always remember. One is we took her here, because this was during BC. So this was when they were still draining Ma'uru here. So we take her here, and she learns it by being a Blood Knight. She's like, oh, I can't wait to be a Blood Knight. We also take her to the Caverns of Time. And that little incident has been in my brain ever since. Because we take her to the Caverns of Time. 2 of the Wardens of Time, the Bronze Dragons, go to attack her. And one of the Bronze Dragons has to interfere and be like, hold up. That girl will not be held accountable for what she might do or will do in the future. Reminder, I haven't seen the quests we're about to do. Boy, that's a dangling thread, isn't it? BC to Shadowlands. That's a jump. Okay.
Aldiel Shala.
Keep an eye on Salandria. Yeah. Yeah.
By the light. Quickly, get into town.
Alright, what would-be dictators behind this one? Yeah, no spoilers. I haven't done this. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
I answer to the light.
Not a moment too soon. Let's get to work.
Fight well. Remain
I haven't seen the Scourge mustering in numbers like this since she shakes her head, stealing herself. Never mind. There's no use dwelling in the past. Our first priority is thinning their numbers enough so we can find out what or who is really behind this attack. Slay as many of them as you can.
Shorel Aran. Baladash Malanore.
This is no mindless strike. I have strong suspicion that some powerful entity is manipulating the scourge. Ever since the Helm of Domination was shattered, there's been a conceivable risk that someone else could exert their will and assume control of the undead temporarily. Romoth and I can help defend the Tranquillion, but we need to break those lines. Clear a spot for us. See if we can draw out their leader.
Safe travels.
You got it. These are level 60 nothings. I'm on my level 80. Who is geared? Goodbye. Yeah, by definition, there can be no new Death Knights. Nobody really has the expertise and power, both, to do it anymore. Yeah, as soon as I saw the level 60 thing, I was like, oh, okay. Strange, but whatever. I'll work with it.
Ah, the rabble have a Sand Lane here? Take him down while we finish the ward.
Okay. I don't recognize a Vorath, so...
See you soon.
That's not very reassuring. Quickly, to the next ward.
I swear to God, if Kel'Thuzad is back again. Again.
I have overcome death.
Okay.
There he is again! Put him down for good!
Do you sense the futility yet? One more ward to go. I suspect we'll soon have company.
Frickin' Sand Lane, am I right?
Here he comes! You think to be rid of me so easily?
That's it! I sensed a surge of magic coming from Deathholm at the moment of his demise. Let's get back to Liadrin and report what we have found.
Okay.
Salandria, report your findings. What do we face at Deathholm?
Even more scourge than anticipated. But we managed to get close enough to look inside. That Sand Lane Aethys mentioned had some sort of crystal array. He kept appearing within it, almost as if summoned.
That explains the surge of magic I sensed. That traitor has found a way to cheat his own death.
If we can overpower his safeguards, perhaps we can send his accursed soul to the Shadowlands for good.
Then that is our next move. Upstairs there is a weapon. If infused with the proper power and wielded by worthy hands, it just might change our fortunes.
Okay. The wards are in place, and that should give us some breathing room, but the Sand Lane has me worried.
Fight well.
What's a Sand Lane, Liadrin? Yeah, okay.
Aldiel Shalah.
Nothing new there.
Shorel Aran.
Well struck, but for every undead we strike down, more come. We must find a way to stop them at the source.
Remain vigilant. Aldiel
It's clear that this Sand Lane has decided to use the Scourge to empower himself, somehow. We will keep taking him out, and he will keep coming back. We need a weapon that can break him for good. I think I have a solution. Upstairs, you will find a newly forged Rensur, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong. It is yet to be tempered with magic. We will need to unlock its full potential. It'll be our instrument of the light. Hello, baby bear. I feel like you might be stealing my bed, but you would never do that. The baby bear I know would never, ever try to do such a hideously evil action. I can't. I am working. I'm sorry.
I was under your blanket.
What? You're not to hide. You're not allowed to hide there. Let me guess. You want the phone and you want it unlocked. Because I can read your mind. Here you go. How do you ask? Okay. 1 spin and 1 fling. You have to decide what kind of fling you want. You ready? Move this.
Don't let that get rolled over.
Oh gosh, hang on. Let's get this out of the way. There we go.
That's too soft. Lower.
All right. Okay, what kind of flame do you want? Come here. What kind of flame do you want? As you command.
Oh my gosh. I did a flip in the... I did a cartwheel in the air.
Yes, you did. Come here.
I need to fly.
You can't fly. Oh, how are you flying? Oh my gosh. Okay. Here's the phone.
You think that antique will save you?
No, but I am wielding 2 artifacts. Does that work?
Pleasantries can wait. Shorel Aran.
Good. That's exactly what we need. Now it's time to temper this Rensur with enough power to destroy the Sandlane once and for all.
Remain vigilant.
If we're to defeat Vorath, we need to amplify the power of the Rensur. We will not cut corners or impose our will to do that. The lesson has to be learned. However, the Kyrian of Bastion are masters of ushering souls to the... You want me... You... I'm sorry. We're in Tranquillion. It wants us to go to Bastion. Could you casually go back to the afterlife really quick, please? Sure.
Fight well. All DL.
We're clearly, and Maldraxxus, we're clearly dealing with someone who is dealing terrible death magic to suspend his own death. There's another force we know of that uses magic in this faction. The Maldraxxus are intimately familiar with the trappings of death, and equally familiar with how to subvert it. Maybe one of the houses can help us. Okay.
My portal can take you as far as Orgrimmar. Hurry. We have no time to waste.
What? You can't send me to the afterlife?
The Shadowlands.
Oh my god, Salandria. I don't know if I've done that quest on this character. Yep, I can send you to the afterlife. Anyways, these are actually one of the appearances from the... these actually are the appearances of one of the tank artifact weapons from back in Legion. But I've always loved the idea of essentially wielding 2 shields like this. I actually have 2 separate appearances, the purple version and the green version. It's technically my tank setup, but eh. Yep, Salandria, let's go to the afterlife. Oh, I love these glaives. I've had the Blades of Azeroth for a long time. I still kind of prefer these.
The Arbiter
Well, let's do
sees
Bastion first. Come on. There we go. They really are, Uthor.
The Void opened massive
Shut up.
to usher in their forces.
Our purpose is clear.
Suppose if one happened to die, this wouldn't be a bad place to end up. This Kyrian says he'll help us.
Don't worry, I'll be fine.
Our duty is true.
Isn't she like
Our purpose.
a teenager here? A soul that refuses to cross the veil is a problem we Kyrian are familiar with. I can help you, but before I grant you up in this power, I must know you will not abuse it, that your heart is true. Let's run a race. Along the course, ring the bells. If your heart is pure, they will aid your speed. You must have at least 5 bells rung to complete the race. Do not be distracted by shortcuts. Don't try to cheat. It will not work. Are you ready? Sure.
We will not falter.
This looks like it might give us an edge.
No, don't. Okay, whatever.
Often what looks like a shortcut only leads to grief. Stay true to your path.
Stay true to my path.
Yeah, by the way, that's her sword there. Not a shabby sword.
I welcome you.
Such a stubborn young knight. She almost seems to dredge up a memory of long ago. Here, accept this gift of power. I wish you victory over your foe.
As it must be.
Strange. Speaking with you, it is as if a long-forgotten memory flickers in my mind.
Perhaps I remind you of my mentor, Lady Liadrin? She said she was adopted, like me, by a man named Vandalor.
I do not recall. To better focus upon the service I perform, I let go of my mortal memories. Even so, it was a pleasure to meet you, young one. May your weapon serve you well.
One down! Now on to the next challenge in Maldraxxus. I'll meet you there, friend.
Yeah, we actually saw Vandalor briefly, his ghost, or echo might be a better word, back during the Blood Elf Heritage quest.
At which temple do you train? Go in service.
He was one of the people who fell during the Scourge's assault upon Silvermoon. He was Liadrin's adoptive father. I mean, probably Uthor. Because, yeah, this is specifically reference to, I believe, Blood of the Highborn. Yeah, he's been dead for a while. Since Warcraft 3, Reign of Chaos. Yeah, we should be able to go find his memories in the archive. We have reason and purpose to do so. I like to picture Salandria is on one of these things, screaming the entire time. How old is she? Does it actually say? By the way, you might have missed that, but obviously she was an orphan back in BC. The specific person who adopted her was Lady Liadrin. We've known that since BC. She sends us a letter saying as such. Unfortunately, it doesn't list her age. She's got to be extremely young, though. Yeah, she's probably late teens. Approaching 20. Where's the... Oh, there it is. No? 7 years, Triaxia. Dragonflight has a fairly large amount of content. It will be a minute. I'm gonna laugh if it's shorter than Shadowlands. Bite Lord San?
I thirst for combat.
Okay.
Tell me what Jonah did to the stairs.
Okay.
Put a shoe on the stairs so I can't walk.
Okay, hang on. It's okay. It's because it has to dry off so we can clean it properly. Well, hang on. Don't hit space yet, okay? Hang on. Wait.
I won't.
Okay, let's talk to Salandria here.
Ready? Let's go!
We're not in Quel'Thalas anymore. Let's get what we need as quickly as... Oh, sorry. Here's your controller. Let's get what we can as quickly as we can. There's no time to waste.
Aldiel Shala.
This photo is dirty.
Your hands are dirty. That's what that is. Oh my goodness. What have you been playing with?
I was eating something.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. One of these days we're going to figure out this brand new invention. It's called a fork. It's going to be brilliant. You just watch. You're going to love it. Hang on, we're going to get this first. Really quick. Really quick. There we go. Let's see those hands. There we go. Oh my goodness. Yes, Evo.
Eating something last night.
You were eating something last night? Are you allowed to?
I was eating a lollipop.
Oh, okay. Other hand. Other hand. There you go. Could you tell stream what you did earlier with your shoes?
Oh, you wanna put our shoes on the stairs?
No. When you put on your shoes, do you remember?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I put shoes on?
Without help, right?
Yeah.
That's right, because you are awesome. Way too smart for your age. Here you go. You're still a little sticky, actually. Hang on. We need to really clean your hands. My goodness. You just don't want me to finish Shadowlands today. Admit it. Admit!
Well,
Upside down. Come here. I need to dry them off real quick. Give me your hands. Give me your hands. Then we have to destroy your hands.
No.
Why not?
I want the healing.
Oh, well, that's a great thought. I thought you were a dragon. Are you a dragon today?
No.
Okay. Are you a T-Rex?
No.
Okay. It's good to know.
Sure.
Here you go.
So dirty.
All will know my name.
Look.
I see. That's because your hands were still very dirty. Your hands are a little bit... Here, baby. A cowardly pest that cheats his way out of a glory of death? Ha! I have something that'll cut him down where he stands, but such an enchantment requires one who is strong enough to wield it properly. Show me your metal and fight. Improve yourself. I'll empower that Rensuer of yours. Can you say Rensuer?
Rensuer.
That's very close. Can you say... Let's see. Can you say... Bump.
Bump.
Here, it's okay. Your hand's fine. Yeah, your hand's fine. We're good. We're good. Okay, you ready?
Sparkle on my hand.
Of course you have sparkles. They're everywhere.
We can defeat him, no problem.
Ready to strike.
There will be blood.
What the?
I never said you would fight me.
Da-na-na-na.
Nardalo!
Well fought.
Whoops.
I admit I did not expect such a battle from you.
Why did you die me?
Sorry.
And I'll empower your
Die
Rensu.
me.
Sorry, I forgot that I wasn't scaling. So I was getting ready to do my full unload rotation.
Give me something to fight.
Dying me.
Don't worry, it's fine. We gotta jump up here and talk to this guy now. So talk to him.
The battlefield.
He says, here, take the power we've honed and use it to defeat your hardest to kill enemies. Okay, I didn't mean to, Thor, I'm sorry. I really didn't. If that sand lane ever shows up, he'll have an appropriately warm welcome. Hang on. He's empowering the weapon. See? Such power, not even Vorath can withstand the might of this weapon now. We have what we came for. The Rensuer is ready. Let's get back to Lady Liadrin. And you're gonna... Did you just...
That's it! We have what we were asked to get. Let's return to the Matriarch and report our success.
Another guy.
Oh my god, she just gave herself bomb, and it only lasts 5 minutes. Jump.
Why are we going to her?
For those of you who don't get the humor of that, blessings used to only last 5 minutes back in vanilla. Hey, little fairy. Happy 11.1. Yeah, you don't like having wings?
I do like wings.
Because we're a nice big dragon. Her name is Vanquish. Can you say hi, Vanquish?
Hi, Vanquish.
Vanquish says, hello. You wouldn't like that. Would you like to try a piece?
Yeah.
Okay.
Report.
I'm going to give you a very small piece because you are not going to like it. You ready?
Yeah.
I'll give you a little bitty piece of it.
Yummy.
You actually like it?
Yeah. No, I don't like it.
It's okay. Yep, judgment also used to remove your seal. I remember that. Okay, so I gotta fly through the portal. You ready? Ready? Hit the button. Wait. Hit the button. There we go. You did it. You did it.
Where are we going?
We're going back to the airport. And once we're at the airport, we're gonna find our portal. Do you think we can find our portal?
We will find your portal.
That's right, we will.
We're going to find our portal.
So here's the airport. Do you see it? Oh, the maw actually looks pretty passive for once. Okay. I mean, technically it'd probably be Anima Port. For being honest. Because, like, it's not a people port in real life, right? It's an airport, so the vector by which we travel is what determines the name. Which in this case would be Anima. Okay, now we gotta go all the way out here. Yeah, look, see, it's all nice and quiet now. Which makes sense. It, again, really is just a pit at the bottom. Although I like how we're still technically part of it.
Then let's go at the bottom.
Well, we can't go to the bottom. You don't want to go to the maw, do you?
We do.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll go to the maw later. How's that sound? Because right now we have to go back to Tranquillian. I know, right? So let's go to Tranquillian. First, we're going to have to go the long way, I think. I mean, pretty much every class got better in BC, in my opinion. I know that's an unpopular opinion. I know everyone hates me for it. I know I'm going to eat worms. Don't ever eat worms. They're gross.
Look, ate a worm.
Why are they all bowing to me?
Don't eat a worm, Baba.
No, don't eat worms. No, here's a worm. Here's a worm. You're doing a good job of not eating it. I'm actually very proud of you.
What is ate a worm right now?
No, don't eat a worm.
He's trying to eat some worms.
Why are you trying to eat worms?
If I'm hungry.
Well, you know what? That's a valid answer. You win.
You like worms.
Worms are delicious. When they're gummy worms. Do you like gummy worms?
Yeah.
Do you like gummy butterflies?
I do like gummy butterflies.
You know, if you actually eat your dinner tonight, I got a special dessert for you. But you do have to eat your dinner.
What business have you?
You need nutrition.
Be ready for anything.
What is that?
This is called a dragon hawk. It's kind of a combination of a dragon and a hawk, which is where the name comes from. What do you think of it?
That's really pretty.
It is pretty.
But Jonah didn't like that.
Probably not.
I
It's okay.
really don't like it.
It's okay. Not everyone likes the same things. For example, I don't like black licorice. She doesn't either, by the way. Recently, for Christmas, I got her father some really nice, like, imported black licorice from Sweden. And he offered...
That guy?
That's an old man. He's an Esper. I got him some of that, and he offered a piece to her.
Sticky.
I think you're right. It's because you have so much food on your face.
Yeah.
And she managed to get about halfway through a bite of the black licorice before she spat it out immediately.
What's that story?
This thing?
Oh, that thing.
This thing?
Yeah.
This is that's a remote control. There's also this. You remember these?
Yeah.
I know you can't hold both. You have to decide.
Anaria Shala. Fight
Okay.
well. Remain vigilant.
It's time to put all that power and training into the field. Take the empowered Rensure and cut a swath of destruction through the scourge. We'll meet you at the doorstep of Deathholm.
Wipe the scourge from the dead scar. We will meet you at the gates of Deathholm.
You know what's funny is most people don't even notice it's there. In fact, I forgot it was there until you said something, Pillars of Snow. I went upstairs just now to, take the kiddo up to wash her hands, and nobody said a thing. And no one ever will.
You did.
I did notice, but that's not quite sure. I guess I didn't notice. Well, hang on. Let me have that. Hang on. Let me put your controller away. You ready? Okay, hang on. Let's go ahead and start moving. Don't. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. There we go. All right, let's do it. Whee! Oh, God. Mounted combat. It took him years, but we finally have mounted combat. This is what eventually turned into vehicle combat all the way back from Wrath. Oh, it's Vorath again.
Ah, once more the rabble arrives for a showdown. Have you learned nothing?
I don't want rushing at us.
Why not?
Because we want ourselves.
Oh, okay.
A monster.
There's a lot of monsters.
Yeah, there's a lot of bullies.
I love the idea that my demon hunter's just so fast.
Please.
That we can do that. That we can just be like, hi, and then we're back on the mount. Just like that.
We got the mommy.
Don't worry. There will be no mommies left when we're done.
What is this? What have you done to that weapon?
Well, what do you have, Evo? Eggs are a good standby.
Mommy.
We will get rid of all the mommies. Yeah, I guess we should at least use this thing.
The daddy.
And the daddy. No daddies, no mommies. All gone. Broccoli. You have broccoli. Okay, I recommend cooking something with broccoli.
There's the mommy and the daddy in front of us.
Stop killing me!
Why? You're the one trying to kill us. God, dude. These people, I swear. Yeah, honestly, broccoli and cheese.
Guys.
Don't worry, we got this.
I am the Blade of the Light.
He's here. We've driven the fiend back to his cage. Now to send him to his doom.
Shorel Aran. Remain vigilant. I answer to the light.
You made short work of the scourge and the dead scar.
Do the lava play.
Okay. But we've got a bigger target to face. It's time we test your weapon against Vorath.
Shorel Aran.
Why are you jumping in the green lava? Okay.
Now it's even green.
It is very green, yeah. Wonder why the lava's all green.
Why is all the lava green?
I don't know. Do you
Why
know?
the lava turning green?
I don't know.
You
Why am I turning
fall.
Quickly now! Use the Ransur on his body before he comes back to life! Get behind me!
What the heck is that?
It's a crystal.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Anaria Shala.
It is done. Already the scourge are beginning to scatter. We can dispose of the rest in time.
Aldiel Shala.
Ooh, a new mount. The power of the Ransur has been spent, but we are victorious. Ah!
I answer to
With
the
Vorath defeated, perhaps the scourge will be more easily dealt with. Thanks to
Remain-
you. I can't until I read this quest, okay? Okay, it's just meet me back. All right, let's go.
Aldiel
Back to the green lava. Go, go,
You
go.
all right?
Still standing. And thank you for the shield. I think I may still have a few lessons to learn.
One never stops learning, little Phoenix. Come, let's get back to Silvermoon.
Do you like our lava dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see from the front. Hello, lava dog. He says hello. Hello.
There's dogs.
That's right, there's two of them, aren't there? Do you like the chains?
Yeah.
There.
But look,
Hello.
the lava dogs have horns on them.
They do have horns, you're right. I didn't even notice that, really. At least process it. And you see the black coals that are their hide?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're very cute.
But when
Go ahead.
the game part and this part, we won't able to play a game on here.
Well, you have to hit the button to play the game. There we go. Jump. What are you doing?
For pinkies.
You're using your pinkies to jump? Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
This
Nope.
one makes a swap.
That doesn't do anything. The only thing it really does right here is the jump button. Uh-oh. We should probably get on our flight path. Do you want to get back on that dragon hawk?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go talk to this person.
We will persevere.
Can you say, dragon hawk, please?
Dragon hawk, please.
The
Whoosh. There we go. Go get a good shot of it. There we go. The dragon hawk says, hello. I'm here to fly you back to town.
Wait.
What?
What's like you back to town?
Yeah, he's flying us back to town. He's very helpful.
Now let's stop and let's get the
Well, we can't jump right now. We're flying. Although we're going past, do you see all the trees we're going past?
No.
You don't like the trees?
Because Brian Beagles don't like trees.
They don't?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
One button, so we're gonna go. lower and so high.
We can't go super high, though. We'd get above the trees if we did that.
If we press these buttons, we're able to see the sky.
Oh, I see. Well, here, why don't we get on ground again? How's that sound? All right, let's get on. Here, let go, let go, let go. Let go. Okay, so we have... there we go. All right.
I don't want this.
Let's try another one, then.
I wanna...
Well, a robot now. Beep, boop.
Not this.
Running through town as a robot.
I want a lava dog.
You want the lava dog again?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Ah, I had it. There it is. There's the lava dog. See? Hello. I am a lava dog.
What's that?
Jump, then. You can do this.
I'm doing it.
You are. Uh-oh, we should probably get back on the... Whoa, whoa, whoa. There we go.
Oh, what are these?
I don't know. Oh, those are numbers, which are currently off. Let's fix that. There we go. Any true WoW player knows you have to jump constantly. It's a thing. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take you upside. Okay? You ready?
Yeah.
Do you want to be flung before we go?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want upside down flung? Do you want backwards flung? Not yet, but you can have one later, okay? After this. Ready? 1, 2, 3. It's not supposed to hurt. If it hurt, I have done something wrong. Upside down pudding. And now, upside down carry. What? Alright. I will give 5 apples to the first person who brings me Valerian's head.
I am the Blade of the Light. Shorel Aran.
This is not the end of the scourge, but it is gratifying to drive the threat from our lands with such tenacity. Silvermoon is grateful to you this day.
Fight well.
I will inform the Ebon Blade of what transpired. If the scourge caused such problems here, I suspect matters in Northrend may be even worse. But regardless, your efforts must be lauded. When our lands were threatened, you stood strong and held the line.
Know that you have our gratitude, and that you set a shining example for the future. For Quel'Thalas.
For Quel'Thalas.
Actually, I do too, Thor. That was a surprisingly decent little chain. I noticed I didn't get any weapons from it, just a mount. But, you know, that's okay.
Pleasantries can wait.
Aw. Well, note to self, do this later on a Blood Elf Paladin. I happen to have a Blood Elf Paladin. So that's doable. Yeah, I wonder if Salandriel will come back. I mean, this is very much the era of WoW when they're, like, doing better, to put it very simply. Tying up loose threads, connecting to old things, not abandoning old content. Stuff like that. And bringing back the... Wait. There's something wrong with your portal rune there. It's got a couple of wobbly issues. I mean, again, it's the Elven expansion, so... It's fine. And I'm inside out. I'm actually going to get in position for one other thing and then switch characters really quick. Two things left. We have 2 things left. And I have 20 minutes before dinner shows up. I'm not going to make it. Like, I still have to do the wrap-up, the audit, the map. God, is it down? Did I miss it? No, it's right there. We'll do Draenei Heritage when we get there. Which will be during 2.7. 10.2, in other words. So, no, we're not doing Draenei yet. Yeah, from what I understand, we're probably going to finish Amirdrasil and then do some wrap-up. And that'll include those 2.
I am forsaken.
Because it's Draenei and, we have to do the Eridar Unlock, Draenei, and Troll. That's the ones. Interesting.
What have we here? The Menethil Princess.
I have come to help as best I can, Commander.
I'm glad you like it, Doctor Who. It is a delightful game, I agree completely.
I stand ready to help.
Why wouldn't the Forsaken welcome you? It begins with my name. I am Arthas Menethil's sister. I was once a member of the Royal House of Lordaeron. Though I was never intended to rule, and nor would I seek to. While some might see me as seeking authority where I have none or representing the Alliance, I do not. Some hear the name Menethil and are rightly horrified by my brother's actions, but I am my own soul. I have lost as much to the scourge as any survivor of Lordaeron.
May you find peace within.
I was always fond of Brill. Much remains to be done, but it's heartening to see the progress made in rebuilding here.
For Lordaeron.
It's heartening to see the progress made in helping rebuild Brill. Guys, but this is only a first step. The ruins of the capital remain inaccessible because of the Blight. It's here where I hope you will aid the cause. Restoring as much of the land as possible will require a gathering of minds all working towards singular purpose. A number of influential figures have risen to prominence amongst the Forsaken. Please help bring them forward so we can discuss the path going forward.
Honor the past, but embrace the future.
Yeah. I am so sorry, Ross. I will try not to recommend games ever again. The plague unleashed during the war has tainted the land and disturbed the dead. That is to say, more than they already were. We have worked hard to rebuild, but our people cannot complete their efforts while under threat. My first duty to ensure the safety of the Forsaken. I will meet with the others as Kalia requests, but first you must help eradicate some of the Blighted.
I will join the meeting, but we must ensure that the outskirts of Brill are secure.
I'm sorry, I sigh because A, those people exist, and B, any effort is ever made to appease them. I have been reminded recently that not every voice on the internet should be listened to. Yeah, there is no HVA. It's gone. It has stayed gone. It is going to continue to stay gone. Paper Mario 2, Phyrexia. I am glad that you're liking it. So that was Velinara. This is Farinel.
Do you need something?
Master Apothecary Farinel at your service. Well, at the service of the Forsaken, naturally. I'm a patriarch of potions, artist of alchemy, maestro of mixtures. My concoctions in my laboratory are legendary. That is when I had a real laboratory, but one thing at a time.
Yes, yes, I will come. But first, behold, as my creation eradicates the Blight. You may applaud at any time.
Good job.
No, my beautiful construct. Dash it all. How can we hope to succeed now?
It's all right. You'll get there. Don't give up. Sorry, I thought you meant that sincerely, Ross. I am glad you are actually enjoying it.
And that's where we stand. Sylvanas is gone, and our homeland remains overrun with toxic blight.
It may be hard to see, but that's Amalia on the left and Derek on the right.
What have I become?
My little sister Jaina introduced me to Callie after I unexpectedly returned from the sea. Lady Callie helped me confront what all this means now with patience and grace, and I will stand to see her serve. I will stand with her to serve as I am able.
Just go.
Who are you? We can say to Lillian Voss. Jesus Christ.
I will attend this gathering. After all, someone needs to make sure Kalia gets a chance to speak up for herself.
Eh. I didn't say anything. Apparently a bunch of other people did.
We have much to do.
This should give us our guards some breathing room. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
We will forge a new future.
Some might also ask if the Dark Rangers are to be trusted as well. We were Sylvanas' closest cohorts, and even we were left behind. I have declared my allegiance to the Forsaken. Kalia should be given the opportunity to do the same.
May your aim be true.
I live my life in the shadows.
Looks like we're ready to get started. I don't think there have been many Forsaken in one place since... well, Darkshore. But we're in our own lands now. It's time we take care of our own.
Do not linger.
The Blight Congress. We, the Forsaken, have been through a lot since the destruction of Lordaeron, but we're determined to keep our home. Why should we give up what we fought so hard to carve out for ourselves? Kalia is a relative newcomer in our ways, but she's obviously known to our people. How could she not be? She's the sister of Arthas himself. I hope we can move forward, and she can really help. Her voice could be a powerful one if she is truly committed to our people.
There is much to be done. What is it you ask? All right. What are we going to do about the plague in the Undercity?
No, Luthor.
Don't you mean what are we going to do about her?
We should focus on the Blight. Farinell, do we have any more of your Plague Eaters?
This is my last one! And it's a puny thing. I can make more, but to be effective, they must be formulated to survive the plague!
If I may, our allies in the Shadowlands might be able to provide insight. In particular, the Plague Lords of Maldraxxus.
One of these days, I will not keep going back to Shadowlands. Although, if it's a chance to meet Merilith again, I'm okay with it.
Light's blessing upon you. Master Apothecary, what do you need to make your creation stronger?
Nothing less than a pure, undiluted sample of that plague. From deep within its reaches.
Very well. I will help acquire that sample for you.
That is one solution.
She won't succeed.
Belmont, you can piss off. I remember you during BFA. And Kata, while we're on the subject.
We all have our duty.
I expected my presence might cause friction, but I'm grateful for Lillian for her meditation. Never give me a chance to show that I'm committed to helping the Forsaken people. And now I must prove it.
For Lordaeron.
I promised I would help, and I shall. We need that pure sample of the plague afflicting Lordaeron, but we cannot put anyone else at risk. Come with me. I will call a shield of holy light to safeguard us in that blighted area so we can collect the sample. The spell will require my full focus. I trust you'll protect me from anything that tries to stop us.
May you find...
Yeah, I got you back. Go, my minions.
I stand ready to help. Stay close, and be wary. I can't hold back the effects of the Blight for long, and we don't know what threats are lurking out there.
It's okay, my pets are fine. They're both dead anyways. Aren't you dead as well?
The toxicity is overwhelming.
That's a good point. Guys, be careful. I mean, she's a priest too. At least in Legion. No, I noticed the Warfront music.
This should be far enough. Hurry! Get the sample. That's it. We need to get back. My shield is starting to fail.
In case you missed that, Belmont said that's one way to do it. Because he thought this is a way to kill her.
Keep fighting. We're almost there.
Look, I don't mean to rush you. Ugh.
Well, I'll be.
She did it and survived.
I am forsaken.
Victory for the Forsaken.
Yeah, Lillian is being as diplomatic as she usually is, and that's not a joke. She really is a very diplomatic person. Probably because she has a tremendous amount of empathy for anybody who died. Which makes sense given what she went through. This kind of ties back into the Sylvanas thing. Honestly, both Sylvanas and Lilia did the same general things for completely different reasons. They both were there to kind of help people through the transition of being dead. But Sylvanas did it so she could have tools. Arrows in her quiver. Her words, not mine. Lillian did it because she has empathy, because she knows exactly how horrific that was, and wants to be there for everybody else going through it. And that's the difference between, Lillian and Sylvanas in one succinct sentence.
What do you need?
Is she really one of us? She wasn't raised like we were. She didn't suffer like we have. Does her heart burn with anger, her ichor flow with spite? Has her every moment of undeath been locked in a battle to survive against those wishes permanently dead? How can we trust her?
Keep your guard up.
You, never mind. Moving on.
Keep your guard up.
We have the Blight sample. Now to bring it to the Plague Lords of Maldraxxus.
I hope you're right about their expertise, Lady Menethil. This could give us a fighting chance to restore the city.
I'll accompany Kalia along with our friend here. Farinel, we'll need to bring your last Plague Eater with us too.
Do be careful with it. Should these Plague Lords bolster its resilience, the apothecaries can replicate it many times over.
I like how the thing is like, go that way. Uh-huh. Yeah, he's there throwing peanuts, and that's pretty much his role here.
Margrave Sindane has asked for our assistance in dealing with allies of Kelduzad.
Shut up.
Make them.
And just casual portal. I'm not even gonna complain.
We are grateful for your aid, Margrave.
Ah, Maw Walker. I sensed you had a part to play in this. Step forward.
Hey, Sindane. How you doing? You carry a rather nasty example of this unchecked and unfettered ambition of a plague maker. I trust the creator of this monstrosity has already been purged. That's an interesting question. What would you do? What would you ask of the houses of Maldraxxus?
Claim victory at any price.
The one with the knowledge you seek is a survivor of the House of Plagues. You already know him. Plague Deviser Merilith may not be the most lucid of conversationalists, but he'll know what to do with it. Okay.
Before I take my leave, Margrave...
This is a fun combo.
May I speak to you concerning the nature of undeath?
I've read this one.
You will find no one with greater knowledge on the subject than I, mortal. Proceed.
The Forsaken were raised through necromancy, and this shared origin has provided them a sense of unity. I, however, was raised by the light. That difference has caused me to wonder if I can ever truly find a place among them.
Necromancy is the art of animating unliving flesh. Here in Maldraxxus, we use the magic of death to accomplish our craft. But whether these rituals are empowered by death, or light, or any other magic, necromancy is necromancy. You perceive a difference where there is none, child.
Then perhaps I have found my purpose. Thank you, Margrave. Your perspective has been a great help.
For what it's worth, I disagree at least a little bit with what Sindane just said. Only a little bit. I think that different fuel, for lack of a better way to put it, does change the result a little bit, but it is still necromancy, she's right. I mean, I wouldn't know anything about that. I just walked up to Razan, I was like, hey dude. Razan was like, sup? You wanna hang out? I brought burgers. Turns out Razan really likes burgers. I guess it makes sense, you know? Big T-Rex guy.
Our house's research continues, apprentice.
Hi, Merilith. What's up?
We brought this tiny plague eater. Can you make it stronger?
I always have time for my brightest pupil.
You look a tad Wayne. Are you certainly getting enough sleep? I haven't slept in like 15 years.
Farewell.
My little friend there looks hungry. Not to worry, I know just what to feed it. Soon it will grow big and strong and be able to eat all the plague it can. There are various concoctions nearby that will give it bolstering properties, and every color is a different flavor. I'll take the plague samples you brought into the House of Plagues to see what we can learn. Meet me there, and your plague eater can dine in style.
Everything you need can be found in the House of Plagues. Let's get this sample of yours ready for testing.
Did he just walk into... Oh, never mind. I'd better give him some cover. Meet you farther in.
Appreciate you. He's kind of,
I will call upon the light to shield you from the caustic fog. Be careful.
The House of Plague suffered calamity much like Lordaeron. Hope that our work and effort will reverse some of that destruction, but first we want to reach further into the House of Plague so we can strengthen the capabilities of the Plague Eater. Any slime or creature you slay will surely help it gain fortitude.
We all have our duty.
Thanks for the shield. Are you a disciplined priest? What's that? Don't worry about it. A friend of mine was telling me about the differences. I didn't quite get it. Something about, like, metas and OP and raids. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. It does sound extremely horrible, Braven. What's funny is a lot of settings actually have more or less exactly that. I casually reference Forgotten Realms because they have a rather infamous one. I forget what it's called, but there's this whole giant, like, extended castle structure where you just go and hang out, like, alright. Next, serving 533 billion and 765,432,332. At door 3.
While you bolster your little friend, I'll see what I can learn about your plague sample.
Isn't that Cam Clark? Maybe it isn't. I'm not sure anymore. I know nothing. Yeah, I can't wait to get there myself. I just know. And endlessly abuse the cheats. Mwahahaha.
My, oh my, what a pernicious little strain. Let's give it some body and study its characteristics.
Is that a smart idea? It is. It is Cam Clark. I thought so. Gonna make me doubt myself. I see how this is. Merilith's ideas are not what worry me.
What? Ouch!
Devisor! Oh, blast it! The plague sample turned on him. Hurry and get over here!
His executions, J. Palmer.
Light's
Unintended.
blessing upon you.
With the Margrave's help, anything is possible.
Did you see? What a fearsome plague sample you brought me. It hit me in the head and quite nearly killed your friends. Marvelous!
Enjoy your field research.
What a nasty little plague you've brought me. Must have been concocted by a true sadist. To study the sample, I gave it form, but the ungrateful thing turned on me and attacked completely unprovoked. It shuffled a bit further into the house. I hate to say it, but I believe this one must be put down before it's allowed to grow stronger, or larger. Look on the bright side. If your plague manages to survive, it'll be attuned to your particularly terrible form of blight.
That plague sample you brought put up quite a fight. I'm afraid you'll have to deal with it now.
Take the Plague Eater with you. If it survives that monstrosity, we'll know we've got the right formula.
Yep, we made the Lordaeron Plague sapient and mobile. We are a winner. Okay, well, let's go deal with this. So, hey, listen, you want to just kind of chill? I see your name there is Lordaeron Blight. You want to go get a burger? That sounds like a no. Yeah, I was just thinking to myself, the House of Plagues finds the Lordaeron Blight terrifying. Which, granted, it did take several years and a lot of people making it, but still...
My blade stays sharp. Do not linger.
You strengthened our Plague Eater, and now it looks ready to take on a much, much bigger meal. Let's get back to Farinal. He said he can replicate its properties and dispense Plague Eaters across all the ruins. And maybe, just maybe, we can set foot in our home again. Here, take my Hearthstone. Lillian, I don't...
Kalia and I will get the Plague Eater to the apothecaries. Use my Hearthstone, and meet us back in Tirisfal.
It was wonderful seeing you again, my apprentice. Do remember to visit.
Love you. So it's funny you asked that, Blue Boy Wiz. As I've pointed out before, Maldraxxus is probably one of the worst of the zones conceptually, because it so clearly was just designed to be the Scourge zone. And there's a lot of evidence that it was actually supposed to be a bad guy zone, as opposed to one of the Covenants. So, like, literally, and this is not me presuming, literally, Maldraxxus itself is based off of the design of Naxxramas. That's why there's a House of Plagues, because there was a plague corridor. I know you meant more like in-universe, but that is the answer to your question. It's because there was a plague corridor in Naxxramas. By the way, Lillian's Hearthstone is made of a chunk of grave. Exactly, Blue Boy Blues.
Hello. We have replicated and loaded my improved Plague Eaters. We are ready to deploy.
Master Apothecary, you should know that the blight sample we took to Maldraxxus took form and became aggressive.
Really? I suppose that should make it easier to kill. Ingenious! Wish I'd thought of that.
What's the snack, Russ?
I am forsaken.
Wonderful! Not only did you manage to lose my Plague Eater, you brought it back stronger than ever. Oh, sorry, not lose. Sorry. Now witness the genius and rapidity of my machines. There will be more than enough Plague Eaters to spread across this. Yeah, by the way, I kind of pointed this out a long time ago, but Farnell has been around since Vanilla. He's actually one of our longest-standing undead characters. Lillian's one of our oldest. She goes back to Cata. Belmont, I believe, is also Cata. I don't remember if he was before that. Farnell is freaking Vanilla. Just, wow. Callie is Legion, by the way.
Trust in the apothecaries.
The time has come. By the light, I pray our plan works. Master Apothecary Veronel's wagons have reproduced the Plague Eater many times over, and the bats are ready to deploy. If you see a place where our forces could be spread even more of the remedy, you can signal them with a flare. Take to the skies, and let's put an end to the blight, for Lordaeron and for the Forsaken.
All our efforts have come to this. I pray our strategy works.
My forces will join you in the skies to help with any unforeseen side effects.
Oh, that's a bunch of abilities there. I don't recall if Kalia had any presence in BFA. Can anyone confirm or deny on that?
It's working! The Plague Eaters are consuming the blight!
They've eaten their fill, and now they're gathering up in the middle of the ruins?
Keep going! Whatever happens, we will be ready.
Oh, that's right. I actually forgot that was BFA. Yeah, she's in a post-MSQ, like, wrap-up thing. Yeah, she's the one who gets Derek and kind of helps him to cope with the fact that he's undead now. She also connects with Lillian. Because Lillian has just kind of made it her business to take care of anybody who's undead. Again, makes perfect sense. I love Lillian, if it's not obvious. She's honestly one of my favorite unique characters to WoW. Right up there with Varrock.
The Plague Eaters have merged into a gigantic monstrosity! Kill it! Kill it now!
This is such a weird thing. Yeah, let's just make a giant monstrosity of the plague so we can kill it. Okay, sure, whatever. Whatever works. Also true, we have seen all of Lillian's story. Yep, it's Blightsilla. She's a good pick, Jay Palmer. I agree. The only possible disagreement is she might qualify for major character.
Meet us down in the courtyard now that the ruins are clearing.
We did it. By working together, we cleared the surface level of the Blade Cloud. It'll take more time to clean up the lower reach. The horns! The horns! What? They're back! They just keep coming back! They just keep coming back! Sylvanas! We've cleared the surface level of the Deadly Plague Cloud. It'll take more time to clean up the lower reaches, but it's a fine start.
Keep your guard up.
By combining our knowledge and expertise, we've restored the surface of Undercity to the Forsaken. It was only possible by setting aside our distrust and acting for the good of our people. Time to make this council official. We are no longer the same undead that followed and served Sylvanas Windrunner. From here on, we lead ourselves. The same spirit of independence and pride we've had since reclaiming our free will. Time for a new future and new leadership.
There is no more excuses. No more Banshee Queen. The Forsaken have many different points of view, and we should be led by a council, not a single ruler.
My fellow Dark Rangers and I are with you.
Are we really going to trust a Menethil on the council?
I cannot escape the shadows of my past, but I have no desire for a throne. My place is here among you, and I vow to serve all our people.
I take you at your words, Lady Menethil. And we, the apothecaries, will help shape our brighter future.
Then it's settled. We are the Desolate Council. We are the Forsaken.
Something I've always loved about that. The Forsaken have been associated with bad guys for actually a really long time, fairly and unfairly. But the name Forsaken has always been so fitting for them because of how much all of them constantly are hated and feared by pretty much everything, right? Like, I remind you, one of the very first things the Forsaken did after unifying and kicking out, the Dreadlords and the Scourge was reach out to the Alliance to reconnect, and the response was, bleh! Understandable, but it still gets across the name, doesn't it? Forsaken. And yeah, the undead in general, the Forsaken faction, have kind of undergone the Garoshian Purge, we're just going to call it that from now on. And so a lot of the worst have kind of been filtered out by us because we sort of, killed them all. So, They should be getting a medal for killing Garithos, J. Palmer. I am greatly honored they have accepted me as part of the new leadership. I swear I will do my best to protect and serve, no matter where they come from or what form of undeath has created them.
Honor the past, but embrace the future.
And yeah, notice how once again we're kind of...
Many memories.
Oh, hello. Sprinkling representative government around. Kalia, you... Hang on.
My bow is ready.
For years, we Dark Rangers worked as agents of the Banshee Queen. Now, under the leadership of the Forsaken Council, we serve a greater cause, shaping our people's futures. We cannot be certain what lies ahead, but I vow the Dark Rangers will do everything in our power to defend this kingdom. Your aid was crucial. Take this. And I'm gonna...
When we dark fallen elves were raised into undeath, Silvermoon shunned us. All that we knew, all that we loved, had been lost. In time, we found a place here within the ruins of Lordaeron. But after it was blighted in the war, we feared we had lost this home too. Today, we not only reclaimed our legacy, we began a new path forward. And for aiding our cause, we owe you a great debt. Together with all the Forsaken, we will build a future here. You will always be welcome among the Dark Rangers, friend. Hadiel Shala. Farewell.
Yeah, again, I haven't done this, so I assumed Callie would go out there and do something, but...
I live my life in the shadows.
Reclaiming these ruins means a lot to the Forsaken, especially as the war ended. Our people have needed something to hold on to give us purpose in the wake of everything that's happened to us. I saw Kalia walk towards the throne room. That place holds many memories for her, many ghosts. We should check on her.
Do not linger.
Based on how the Void operate, I would say they're more against undeath than death. Death serves the Void, as the old gods can attest to. Undeath is a perversion of what they feed on.
Within this hall, we shared ceremonies, celebrations, and tragedy. I loved my family, and on one fateful day, I lost them all. Now I am all that remains of the once proud Menethil line. The last heir to a legacy that ended in shame.
So you ran away from the pain. I did too. But it was only when I stopped running that I understood. Those people out there, they're my family now.
But will they ever truly accept me, bearing a name forever stained by a brother's sins? Just as these flagstones are stained by my father's blood.
We are all the same here, Kalia. Seeking our place, despite everything we've lost. But it's a long road, and we will need your help.
Then, let us find our place together.
As Forsaken.
Yeah, I've noticed the camera bug in several of these. Doesn't stop that from being a really good cutscene.
We all have our duty.
Thank you, Swiftshot. You've helped so much. From here, I believe the Forsaken will rebuild and solidify their identity. Not as former denizens of Lordaeron, but as their own people. The people I am proud to be one of.
May you find peace within.
Unliving some... Is that the undead? Is that the Forsaken quest? Because that sounds like it. I've always liked the idea quietly in the back of my mind that this blood is extremely cursed. And that's why it's still there. This is Warcraft. We can clean/cure anything. We just cured the blight outside. So I think that they could have cleaned the blood out if they wanted to. We have a lot of experience in purging and cleaning cursed areas, like we're doing in the Plaguelands, for example. But I like the idea that no one ever wanted to. That everyone just kind of decided to leave that there as a monument to what happened in this room. Exactly, J. Palmer. That blood, that cursed blood, is a memorial to the day that everything died. With that, we have one last tidbit to do. No, that was legit. That's interesting. And hey, look. We're not dying anymore. Yay. Yeah, Tyrannus. Tyrannus wasn't exactly what I would call a good king, but he didn't deserve that. We'll come back to that in When is Forsaken. Looks like 10.1. For now, we've got one last thing to do here. You have no idea, Mr. Red. One moment, please. I mean, it makes sense. We're officially transitioning into what is effectively the Dragonflight era, right? So, yeah. The modern era. Let's call it what it is. The modern era. And yeah, I said it before. The moment the jailer leaves the narrative, the game gets substantially better. It's wild. So, Tyrande wants me to see something.
Why are you here, Anduin? Your kingdom and your friends are awaiting your return.
My friends. The ones I almost killed. They believe my hands are clean. But they don't feel clean.
It is perilous to confuse what you are made to do with what you choose to do.
How can I not when it all blurs together? It was so horrific and exhilarating. And it sickens me to think that satisfaction may have been mine.
Ah, so that's why you've come. You fear you might not be who you thought you were.
I'm starting to wonder if I ever knew. For the first time in my life, I'm afraid that if I call on the light, it won't answer. If I've no trust in myself, how can I expect my kingdom to trust me? To put their faith in me when mine has faltered?
Must you bear that weight?
A king does not have a choice.
No choice? I thought you believed in free will.
I need time to think about many things.
Anduin, I have faced who I was and accepted what I've done. Now, the work begins.
Yes, it does. Farewell, Sylvanas Windrunner. Until our paths cross again.
Farewell, little lion.
Interesting. And yeah, Kira White Noise hit the nail on the head there. With that level of doubt, he cannot cast with the light. And as with so many other things, remember that. That's coming back. That, wow. Okay, there was a lot going on there. It is extremely fascinating that Anduin went to Sylvanas for that, but it makes a lot of sense. I think more than most people, he actually understands the reality of the Sylvanas situation. You know what I mean? As we've talked about, her situation is actually quite nuanced. It is not black or white at all, and he probably has an idea and concept of that more than most other people do. He also... It's a gift from my sisters, yeah. He also... yeah, he needs someone who can understand. Exactly. He needs someone who comprehends what he's going through. One of the things we talked about is the idea that the Banshee Queen... I'm going to be specific about my pronouns here. About my terminology. Proper nouns, excuse me. Proper nouns. The Banshee Queen is not Sylvanas. However, Sylvanas could have been the Banshee Queen. Enough of Sylvanas was in her that it is not hard to understand how she could have made those choices under the right, or I suppose wrong, circumstances. As we've talked about, I firmly believe that a lot of why Sylvanas accepts this sentencing is specifically because she is terrified and crushed by guilt. Oh, absolutely, Mr. Red, 100%. The first Sylvanas is dead. The second Sylvanas is dead. The Banshee Queen is dead. All that's left is the new Sylvanas, technically the fourth, if you're counting. Sylvanas 4. So, yeah, no, the idea that he is horrified at the thought that he could become, let's call it what it is, Death Knight Anduin. At the idea that with just a few edits and a few changes, under the right circumstances, under the wrong position, he could have decided to be the kind of force of destruction that Death Knight Arthas decided to be. Because something that a lot of people dismiss is they think that Death Knight Arthas was a puppet, but no. He was a piece of the original Arthas, right? And he was not quite healthy or cured, and there was a lot of things going against him, but it's worth noting that Death Knight Arthas still chose to do all the things that he did. There was no compunction there. Not until Frozen Throne, and even then it was weak, because the first Lich King was getting weakened. Exactly, Kira White Noise. No lines, no restraint, no nothing. This is the objective. Go. And honestly, that is very Arthas. It's just Arthas has a whole lot of things that kind of kept that reined in. And yeah, Stratholme is all we need to point to. Hell. Honestly, the thing everyone points to Stratholme, and for good reason. Yeah, I saw that. But probably the thing that indicates the kind of person Arthas could be, even regardless of everything, is his what he does in Northrend, when he strands his own people there and kills the mercenaries who fought for him. That's pretty horrible, really. Stratholme was a Kobayashi Maru, but nothing compelled him to do that. But let's move on. Let's do the audit. The good news is I've already done the overwhelming majority of the work on the audit, so this should be relatively quick, which is good. My dinner is currently waiting on me. That is it. That is all. We are done. What's a Kobayashi Maru? Ha, Ross, but that's a good point. Some people might not know what that means. The Kobayashi Maru, so named for Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, is a shorthand for a situation that is designed to be a no-win situation, which then the point is to see what you do in the no-win situation. There's nothing you can actually do to win. Winning's off the table. Now what? That's a Kobayashi Maru. There was no winning Stratholme. Those people were dead or worse. That plague was going to strip through there. The demon lords were going to do what they could with it. That done, right? Winning was no longer acceptable, unless you cheat. That's true, Luke. So, now what? And we saw exactly what Arthas did. Arthas, ironically, I personally, this is just pure personal take on it, I like the idea that Arthas tried to cheat, but it didn't work. Better they die by my hands than become your slaves in death. Didn't line up the way he thought it was going to, I think. Oh, you know what? New Hearthstone. Cheating is an option. Change the rules of the test. I don't believe in the no-win scenario. Which is funny, because the very next thing that happens is he's faced with one. Great. You go ahead, comma. I'm going to be a few more minutes, and I don't want to deprive you of dinner, period. We are actually, I'd say, a couple weeks out. Dragonflight has a decent chunk of change in it. That's new. Ah, right. Let's not tilt the camera over there. As I realize what that is. The problem is, while there would still be holes and problems and issues, 57 negative speaks for itself, I think. The problem with the jailer is, regardless of his relative lack of presence and screen time, the jailer, they constantly tried to tie the jailer into everything. And that ruined everything he touched. I'm not even speaking facetiously. We didn't give a single... I was just thinking, oh god, I'm going completely the wrong way. Wake up, Laura, wake up. I couldn't think of a single positive for anything that was connected to the jailer throughout Shadowlands. Not one thing. And that is the problem. Yeah, let's get a little sneak peek of what we're getting into tomorrow. I don't want to overhype Dragonflight, really. But to be quite honest with you, Dragonflight, even if it was merely good, even if it was like Warlord's quality, would have been a breath of fresh air. After the nonsense that was Shadowlands. Yeah, by the way, this is the city instead of Oribos. You want to hear something cool? You see those guys, all those dragons out in the distance? Yeah, that's not a skybox. Those are rendered. You can actually fly up there and see them if you bother to. So yeah, let's get a shot of where we're gonna be going. This is also when they invented that fog tech. Oh, shoot. I went over the edge. The fog tech I've been showing off. It's been backported. That's why you've been seeing it the whole time. That's too far up still. Also, you're probably thinking, Lore, hold on. Why is that the highest spot in the game? Well, it's actually the second highest, but let's not quibble. The reason why is so you can fly anywhere. Glide might be a better word, but it's still true. That's a nice shot. I think we'll go with that. Alright. Let me jot down. We did give a few last-minute positives there. Yeah, we're finally going to pay attention to that jackass. We're not, actually. We're going to make a Horde character, but still. We will be playing Evoker. I have never played an Evoker before. Oh, yeah. That reminds me. What, for? So there's 2 cinematics for this one. Does anyone have any advice on, should we just watch them back to back? Like, I've never even seen the second one. So I'm kind of lost here. Okay, back to back. We'll just do them back to back then. Brigwin, I saw this problem with signposting long ago. I'm just not as bothered by it as you are. I'm going to give it negatives, and then I'm going to move on. That is the usual approach. I am not overly worried, admittedly. Dragonflight is recent enough that I'm not super concerned about keeping everything in order. Remember, a lot of this has just been me doing things by memory. signposting is exactly what it sounds like. Do this, then this, then this, then this. Normally, so technically there are previous expansions that have had the same problem with signposting, but it hasn't been a problem because most of WoW's story isn't linear, or at least hasn't been linear. It is only much more recently that linear storytelling is a thing. Now, the way they usually get away with that is they have specific types and styles of vector quests to make sure you go to the right thing at the right time in the right way. It's usually also pretty obvious what you're supposed to do in what order. So in other words, while it's technically always been a problem, it's never been quite a same problem. Yeah, by contrast, Dragonflight had a lot of, well, story, good story, for lack of a better way to put it. Ah, come on. Come on. There we go. I'll go and have the one that's... Come on. Actually, I did, Mr. Red. Yeah, Dragonflight did this thing where it would add a new story every minor patch. No, Loke, that's not... Okay. So, Luke is at his farm trying to figure out what's going on with the droids. Then he's zooming across the wastes to go meet Obi-Wan Kenobi. Then he goes to clean his droids just like his uncle told him to. Then he's escaping from the Death Star alongside Han Solo. And then he's flying in an X-Wing trying to fight in the Battle of Yavin. And then he's approaching Mos Eisley with Obi-Wan in order to find Han. The game needs to do a better job of indicating the order of things. It's actually a gameplay negative, not a story negative. Signposting is an aspect of gameplay. It is, here's the order in which you should do things. That's what signposting means. It's very rarely come up in games we've covered, because most games either do it naturally and fluidly, or it's not applicable, right? You may have heard me refer to it as guidance and flow before, because in most games that's what it boils down to. You should do this, then this, then this. Metroid, right? But in this case, it interrupted the story. Yeah, Link to the Past has literal signposts. In this case, it interrupted the flow of the narrative, which is why it's a unique problem for Dragonflight. As I've said before, I do agree with Bragwin. It is a negative. Absolutely. I knew that even back in the day. Oh, right. I didn't finish my sentence. Part of the reason it's a problem for Dragonflight 2 is because of that city behind me. What they did was they just kind of dumped most of the quests in Valdrakken. So, like, what would end up happening is, like, you'd be like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then you go back to Valdrakken for any reason, and there's, like, 3 other quests. It's like, huh? And, like, there's the story arc over here in Tierhole. There's the one that deals with the Bronze Flight. There's the one that goes through with the Blue Flight. Not the first time, the second time. There's the arc with the Black Dragons, which is actually down here. Etc., etc., etc. Who is this? Oh, that's just a green dragon who happens to be here. Who's photobombing me? Alright, let's do some math, shall we? Any last minute predictions? Yeah, once the initial MSQ is extremely linear and pretty well done. You just go from Waking Shores to Honorin to Azure to Thalgest. That's it. Boom, done. It's once you finish that initial quad that things get a little tricky. Alright. Well, I'm about to give you a timer here. So this was 334. 68.45 hours. For a little bit of perspective, that puts it just shorter by like a few minutes than BC was. That is longer than I thought it would be, for reference. I really did not think the Covenants would be that chunk. For a bit of perspective, if not for the Covenants, that would have been 44 hours, which would have put it at our second shortest expansion. The only thing that would have beat it at that point is Warlords. "12 appearances. Okay. Kata is and always will be the longest. The only thing that could have contested Kata was Legion, and Legion didn't even come close. Legion was less than half of Kata. And in hindsight, that does make sense. Okay, Vanilla would beat Kata, for actually, ironically, the same reason, but also the substantially reduced speed. Playtime, whatever you want to call that. Because, yeah, there's no dragon flying or even fast mounts in Vanilla. Never mind the substantially reduced speed of combat. Jesus Christ, get your white noise. Alright. Sorry, I want to be very thorough here. I don't want to make any mistakes. This is the big one. This is the one I was really looking forward to reviewing, ironically. Can you guess my favorite song in Dragonflight, Uthor? I bet you can. It's the racing music. It's the racing music. Although I do like a lot of music in the Dream. I have a bad habit of calling it Amir Drasil, but it's actually the Dream. Oh, wow. Yeah. Double checking the math. That looks accurate. Shadowlands. Hang on. No king rules forever. Except for me. Story. Plus net positive. If I can interrupt here real quick, I think so. I just want to talk about this because I was just looking at that. If not for the vignettes, the cutscene quality, and those epilogues, all of that combined, the story would not have managed a net positive. Net positive 38. That is less story positives than BC. Oh, I'm wrong. No, it isn't. Never mind. I'm wrong. I need to get my facts figures. That is one positive more than BC. Sorry. That's pathetic. I'm just gonna say that. That is pathetic. That is half of a positive per hour. And a ratio of 54.24%. For those of you who don't know how ratios work, anything above 50% is net positive, anything below 50% is net negative. 50% is straight even. So 54% is really, really close to just the positives and negatives evening each other out, as you can see by this number up here. Gameplay. As usual, abandonment hurts this. But this is now one of 4 expansions that has a net negative gameplay. At the bottom, we have Burning Crusade with negative 177. Then we have Legion with negative 90. Then Wrath of the Lich King at negative 54. And finally Shadowlands at negative 52. That is 0.76 negatives per hour and a ratio of 32%. Giving us a net golden negative, a net bronze number, none of those words are right, a net bronze number of negative 30.53. And honestly, having gone back through it, that tracks. Something I kept saying throughout the entire Shadowlands run is I can't say something good without also saying something bad. It just kept happening, where there's something that's good, and then bad. And then there's something that's good, and then bad. And it just kept happening throughout the whole expansion. Negative 30 is not good, let's be clear, but it's also not that terrible, as weird as that sounds. That is pretty close to 0. And remember, the line is linear nowadays, not exponential. So in other words, negative 30 is kind of the same as positive 30. It's fine in a bad way, as opposed to it's fine in a good way. Now, hang on, because I want to do a couple other little things here. Let's just overwrite Dragonflight here for a second. Dragonflight, you are now Shadowlands. Congrats. Let's just say, so you might be thinking, negative 30, that doesn't sound particularly terrible, and you're right. You're right. BFA got 620. I stand by that, by the way. That's the problem. Because negative 30, even if it was positive 30, for a WoW expansion, is pathetic. Especially a modern WoW expansion. And no, this is nowhere near as bad as BC, which, as a reminder, got a negative 304. Anyways, so let's assume for a moment. Not yet, Xavion. Actually, yeah, on the genres page, although I need to update it. So type ! genre. You'll see it under the MMO thing. So if we were to assume for a moment that the jailer didn't exist at all. I have to do a couple of extra calculations here. 391. Okay, so that's it. We just eject the jailer, nothing else, right? That drags the score up to 95. Positive 95. Which is still actually kind of low for a WoW expansion, but a lot better than negative 30. Now, if we get rid of abandonment too, so let's assume somehow magically. So let's not actually, hang on, let's do this. So let's say the jailer still exists, because he does. But it is actually possible they'll go back and fix abandonment. That is something that's reasonable, something that is within the realm of possibility. So that gets rid of those. So that's... hang on a second. Also true. Keep in mind, the number I'm about to give you assumes that somehow, magically, every dungeon and raid does not get any positives at all on the gameplay axis. If all they do is get rid of the abandonment, and then somehow they're all just wet pieces of paper. Somehow! That still pushes the score up into the positive range if they got rid of the abandonment negatives. However, it only pushes it up to 34. Now, that sounds about accurate, just because of the abandonment thing. But Huthor is right. If they ever fix the abandonment issues, especially if they properly fix the abandonment issues, WoW's overall score is going to skyrocket. The abandonment negatives have been dragging every expansion down, and will drag the score of the entire game down. Which is one of many reasons why I'm so excited for tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to be playing the first expansion that doesn't get like 30 negatives right out of the gate. It will still get a few. Heroics are gone, Mythics are gone, and Raids are gone, which is going to be 6, I believe. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I believe it's negative 12 is what Dragonflight will get right out of the gate. And that's it. And we'll be able to give positives to dungeons. Finally. Tomorrow's Dragonflight, everyone. See ya.